Well, ladies and gentlemen, everybody all around the world, boys and girls, hello and welcome to a Friday edition of the Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch, as we're here ending off the week strong with an abundance of content, entertainment, fun and excitement, debates, and more, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. We're happy that you're here. We're enjoying you on the live. Let's clap it up. Let's get excited. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, it's time for you to shine and let your voice be heard for the whole of this show today, as everything is predicated on you, the viewing and listening public, as you have control over the show, talking through the airways and talking to your chats, going through a given topics of discussion on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. It's your time to shine on this Friday edition of the championship rounds of the Welch Report that's on all day today. We're glad that you're here. We're gonna start your weekend off with an abundance of fun and excitement. Also, happy Juneteenth to all my brothers and sisters out there. What's going on with you? We celebrating the fullest day of freedom for us over here in America. We love it. We got our clothes, we got our celebrations, we got our cookouts, and we're gonna be having a grand old time celebrating us. Absolutely, we can't wait to do it with you all on our show. And hey, I'm telling you, you ain't gonna want to miss what we got going on. We got some breaking news with the world of boxing, with some stuff with Ryan Garcia coming out, of some fights going down that potentially at 147 are gonna shake up the whole landscape of this division. Not 147, at 154. It's gonna shake up the whole division, hypothetically. Also, some more questions in regards to Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. Is it true that now we can say that Shakur is ducking Devin Haney? Because since yesterday, we've had a lot of people over social media. We've had a lot of different people over the course of television and beyond, fans and haters, all giving their inputs into whether or not Shakur is the one that is the the proponent of this fight between him and Devin Haney, and if so, why? And if so, also, what is going to change this potential fight from being just a pipe dream into a reality? All that and so much more we're going to be discussing on this show. And again, of course, your voice, your opinions, your debates, and your conversations all are going to be added into this show. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and be a part of the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. Also, be sure, if you can, leave a like on the video. One like makes a world of difference for us to go and reach the masses all across the social media landscape. And if you can, support the show monetarily. We have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as Super Chat, Super Gift, stickers, and the like, all for you to help support the channel if you can. Any amount will do, and it means the world to me, not just to help pay some bills, but to also go through and make this show bigger, better, and stronger for your viewing and listening pleasure. As I'm taking a sip of my coffee, as we're getting started this afternoon, we can't wait to see you all here. We can't wait to have your discussions. We can't wait to see your voice and have your opinions be seen and heard for the world to witness and enjoy. So I think that's about everything we need to cover for the intro. So without further ado, we got boxing to cover. Oh no, I said be sure the last thing to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. That was the thing I almost missed. But look, we got a lot of boxing to cover. We got a lot of sports to delve into. We got the championship rounds for the entirety of this show to have you control the narrative of what we discuss. And because of all that, it's time to step into the ring, and it's time for the championship rounds. Yes, sir. Let's get it started. Hey, buddy, it's time to work. It's time to shine. It's time to make this show the best that it can be with all of you in this space with us together. Also, Coloco, how you doing? Good to see you. We're glad that you're here. We appreciate you on the live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. And again, with everything going on, we have a lot of stuff to discuss. But the biggest of which is something that just broke in the world of boxing, at least as a rumored fight that can potentially happen. Something that I didn't expect at 154 now is potentially actually on the table for being possible to witness coming this year when we look at Ryan Garcia in his career. That's right, King Ryan, the man who was supposed to be rather, not supposed to be, who has had an abundance of different personas in the public eye when it comes to the world of boxing. He's hated, he's beloved, he's well known, but he is a challenger amongst everything that he is, because this brother is always taking on tough competition, and now it looks like he's just stepped up even more into the fray, because at 154 he's now in talks to fight against the likes of Virgil Ortiz. I did not see this coming at all. As we're transitioning over into picture-in-picture. Golden Boy beginning talks for Garcia versus Ortiz, per the words, or per Eric Gomez, as a source. And this is coming from IFL TV, who's a pretty prominent and pretty respectable form of journalistic proponents in the world of boxing. And as you can see right here, Golden Boy Promotions, Eric Gomez has revealed that they have contacted Virgil Ortiz regarding a potential fight with Ryan Garcia. Garcia was expected to make the first defense of his WBC welterweight title against Conor Benn, again at 147 pounds, in September. But now it looks like he could potentially step up to 154 to fight Ortiz. And I can't believe it. My gosh, I can't believe it. Oh, shoot. This is insane. This is, I tell you, legitimately, this is a bombshell. This is a bombshell. This is legitimately a major bombshell in the world of boxing. I did not see this coming at all when we're looking at the potential reality of what could take place. Again, for those of you that are just tuning in, hi there, how you doing? We appreciate you right now on the show. We just got word that Eric Gomez, the owner of Golden Boy Promotions, has now publicly stated Ryan Garcia is looking to fight Virgil Ortiz and potentially not fight Conor Benn and defend his belt at 147 at welterweight and straight up move up to 154 in an absolute clash of speed versus power at a higher up division in the wake of a lot of stuff going on the side of Ortiz and a lot of stuff going on the side of Ryan Garcia. Now, Ortiz and Boots, that fight fell through entirely. Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn, they were supposed to fight, but now it looks like we're going to get an all-Mexican war of outright insanity. Somebody's going to sleep if this does indeed take place, but this is a huge deal to have happen as a potential mega fight this year. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you better believe it. This is insane. This is ridiculous. This is everything that I've ever wanted from the perspective of shock and awe when unexpected big fights are all of a sudden coming down on the table. With everything we've talked about with the likes of Shakur and Devin Haney, and that fight, will they, won't they, is a fight that makes sense and all this stuff, all of a sudden Ryan Garcia swoops in and essentially said, hey, I'll show y'all how it's done when it's time to make a big time fight, or when it's time to press the issue. This is ridiculous to think about that this is an actual possibility. That's something I never expected at all when it came to looking at this fight with Ryan Garcia in any capacity. I wasn't even excited as much to see Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia, even though there was a whole bunch of rigmarole and talk, a whole bunch of wah-wah from Ryan Garcia saying the public dates, saying all the stuff involved on Jimmy Kimmel that this fight's going to happen. Now, stuff seems to be shaking up, potentially for the better, because this is a fight that I'm very interested in seeing, now that I know it's actually a possible option to have happen. But either way, let me read you all's chats on the show to see how you all feel. Hey, D, yo, you see what's going on? Look, it's fire. You're talking about it's fire. This is ridiculous. That's it. The Battle of De La Hoya, that's what it feels like. That's what it seems like. And you know what? If it's I believe this would be an in-house situation of promotions working together, not even working together. Two stars under the same banner now going and fighting each other. This is great. This is perfect. I'm excited for it. I want to see it happen. Let me see. Also, Legendary Super Saiyan, how you doing? Salute to you. We appreciate you being on the live, and we appreciate you joining in on our show and being a part of our community and joining in with us on today. And look, this is really our left. In fact, let me actually change this title while we're talking. So instead of we just have it coming soon, we have it straight up Ryan Garcia versus Ortiz in talks. There we go. Yeah. And let's not even do a straight up, let's make this an exclamation point real quick to give it the level of excitement that it deserves. There we go. But as you can see right here, this is huge. This is huge as a potential fight to take place that everybody sees. When I say it wasn't on our radar, we knew Ryan Garcia was a big dude. We knew Ryan Garcia was somebody that, hey, he could be at 154 at some point in time. I never expected it to be this quickly, let alone I didn't expect it to be, unlike with Boots Ennis, who we saw taking a tune-up to fight against Lima at 154 after he fought against Teddy Otis and won the unified titles. He wanted a tune-up, which understandably, we had said before, we're fine with tune-ups if it means because you want to get acclimated to the division. He took a tune-up. But Ryan Garcia is stepping up directly if this is indeed going down. And if they do agree, it's going to be straight. Ain't no tune-up. Ain't no working to see how I feel. We straight moving up there. And we're going up against one of the three best fighters in the entire world at 154 without any oil to warm up in the engine. We're just going for it. That's insane to really think about if this is true. Let me see. Why I don't trust that certain fight will ever happen until ring walks. And again, understandable, as you should. As you should. Let's not act like we're just trying to say, yes, it's a done deal. It's going down. Oh, yeah, it's happening. We're going to get Shakur. Not Shakur. We're going to get Ryan Garcia versus Ortiz immediately, just like that, at the drop of a hat. Be skeptical. Always be skeptical. But with this skepticism, have a level of excitement. Because this is a complete shakeup in this whole division. Even more so, it adds to the depth of one of the deepest divisions in boxing. Definitively right now, there should be no debate. This is outright the most stacked division in the world of the boxing ethos, if this does come true, that Garcia is fighting at 154. This opens a whole new world of potential fights on the table for him to actually take place and take hold of. Whether it's him versus, if he does come up here and it stays here, after the fight with Ortiz, if it does happen, now you can look at Ryan Garcia versus Fundora. Ryan Garcia, again, versus Ortiz, who we're talking about now. Ryan Garcia versus Boachuk versus Adams versus Madrimov even. Ryan Garcia versus Boots Ennis. My gosh, we were talking about that fight as a pipe dream, and we were saying if that fight ever happened, well, Boots would beat the brakes off of Ryan Garcia. But now we're actually going to get an answer on how Boots would handle that level of speed, if it is going to be as easy, or if there's more that meets the eye in that potential matchup. It is at least on a tangible plate that we can see take place. It's insane to think about, but it's the reality. It is a possibility now, legitimately. Let me see. But Key and Kerr will never fight. It's looking like it. Sadly, it's looking like it, and this is why I think the frustration with Shakur, with Keyshawn Davis, with Devin Haney, whether it's against each other or themselves, this is why the fans and haters and distributed the public as a whole starting to get tired of all of them when looking around at the boxing world. We're now getting a consistent, let me not say consistency, but we're getting a very dominant look at the world of boxing in a lens that we never thought we'd see before, where we have a lot of fights that are close together, and now we got a lot of fights that are happening, that we want to see happen. This is great. I want to see it. Everybody wants to see this. They do. And when we're in the midst of this, you got Shakur, Keyshawn, and Haney that with one word can add to the pot of all of this excitement with even more intensity and not just questions to be answered, but legitimate intrigue and big-time fights to help set the landscape of legacy for this era in boxing right now. We want to see them all somehow, some way get to each other to make a fight, and it seems like they're right there, but nothing's happening. While we get Ryan Garcia now looking to fight Virgil Ortiz, we're getting the likes of Boots and Zayas going up against each other. We're getting a time of potentially talk to fight with Caballero. We've gotten Bivol Beterbiev, Inoue Nakatani, Benavidez versus Zerto. We see, at least even this year, all these big time fights of taking chances, taking opportunities, and pushing the envelope on what you can do. We're seeing all of that happen right now in front of us. And Shakur, Keyshawn, Devin Haney, all are just seemingly stagnated. The blame in this case isn't necessarily on Devin Haney in this regard, because he's been open to fight and has stated what he wants and what needs to happen. Now it's Shakur and Keyshawn, more so Shakur Stevenson, that's kind of holding up this whole triangle of investment that the public wants to see. And it's like this could be the icing on the cake of all these other announcements that can just have us satiated when saying we got everything going on that we want. Plain and simple. And the fact that it ain't happening just grinds everybody's gears. When you look at Ryan Garcia now pushing the envelope and saying, oh, I'm going after Ortiz, potentially, at least I'm talking to try to get a fight with Ortiz. Well, again, that shines a spotlight on Shakur, because they're seeing amongst Shakur making demands, making legitimate acquiesce of Devin Haney to shift stuff around, fight at 144. Come down at a catch weight like your idols did and my idol did in Floyd Mayweather, because we both big time fighters and this is a big fight and that's fair. And then afterwards, you then don't answer the call when he says yes. It makes it look like, especially when Garcia's doing stuff like this, well, my gosh, he ain't having no qualms with it. This is his, fourth weight class? 135, 140, 147, and 154. He's moving just fine. He's a big kid like you. He's got the similar physical gifts of size and being able to move throughout divisions. He's showing he ain't no problem with him. He's showing it doesn't matter how big you are. I'll come to where you are and be great. We can say a lot about Ryan Garcia, just like we said we can say a lot about Devin Haney, but we can say the one thing, he doesn't duck smoke. Just like we said with Devin Haney. And this just as we're talking about trying to make a fight. After many people, yes, this fight with Conor Ben could have been exciting, but it wasn't the from a talent perspective. Most people are like, oh yeah, Ryan Garcia's probably gonna beat him. Conor Ben's good, but he's not. Ryan Garcia's clearly better and bigger, and he's going to be even at a closer division to Conor Ben's weight class, and we're probably going to see Ryan Garcia win this fight. Probably. But now this is a test of somebody that even, like, amongst everybody, this is a big challenge. Who's been seen as one of the best, if not arguably the best outright in the division of 154. Straight up. If it wasn't Fundora, or for a number of years, it wasn't Fundora, it was straight up Ortiz, even without a belt. Everybody was clearly saying Ortiz was the best fighter here. It wasn't a dispute for most in the world of boxing. And Ryan's taking this task, or looking to at least try to take this task, off rip. Where is Shakur's same level of gusto? When Shakur has been given the caveats that he asked for to make this fight. Again, it adds to the discussion that it makes Shakur look like he's avoiding the competition. It does. It makes Shakur, when we're asking, is Shakur ducking Devin Haney? It makes it look like he is. Because this is the legacy of fighters and the way they move. Helps to set the precedent, not just for your greatness, but the standard of which we expect you to operate in. And it hurts a fighter when they have everybody else around them making moves that are driven by legacy, and you yourself are seemingly, when you're right at the finish line to make a legacy of your own, adding to the already established greatness that you have, now you're hesitant. It makes people look at you with the spotlight draped in red. A bunch of red flags are flying everywhere. The concern draws for you to now match the others and be as great as them. Because what boxing is a sport, we've said this multiple times. Boxing is a sport that is built off of what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? What have you done to make the biggest impression in the most recent event possible? The history of what you've done, sure, we'll remember it. But that's not what we're thinking about right now. We care about what's happening right here in the moment. Boxing fans are fickle. Some have a short memory, and it takes a long time for some to remind them of what you've done. And even when they're reminded of what you've done, many times it'll be, well, that doesn't matter because right now is the right now. And for Shakur, that's what's going on. The right now for Shakur is Haney's right in front of you, and you've given everything, you got everything that you wanted. And because we're seeing Ryan Garcia take this step, or at least starting to take this step of moving up to 154 to fight Ortiz, or at least to talk to fight Ortiz, in a very commendable task if he does indeed take it and is able to land that fight. This just makes everybody look at you and say, all right, what's your move? Because you said you're pound for pound. Now the words that you said are coming back to haunt you. You said you're the best in the world. You said can't nobody beat you. You said that you are the cream of the crop when it came to this boxing game. There's nobody that can really shake me when it comes to this sport, the sweet science. Without a doubt, I am untouchable. That's what you said to the public. And you've backed it up, especially with Tio. Tio was the biggest validation to everything that Shakur was and is as a fighter. Whatever doubts you may have had about his skill, whatever doubts you may have had about his size, whatever doubts you may have had his ability to fight and box, you got it answered. And the test was passed with flying colors when Shakur beat Tio and won just about every round. And bloodied him up and hurt him. From the standpoint of his eyes swelling and everything. He did his job to solidify his position and showed for on the biggest stage imaginable, I've arrived. Is one of the hottest names in the sport because of that performance. But now, that was then. The consistency is what people are looking for now, especially when that's what you call for. And because you're not doing that consistency with these working talks, or lack thereof on your end, if we're looking at Shakur in this whole lens of him and Haney fighting each other. When we're looking at this objectively, with the added sense of what we just saw from you, and now all of a sudden the momentum stops like it hit a wall of you not taking what you said you wanted to take in terms of big time fights, and then somebody else comes along and just completely shocks everybody with who he's going after, two weight classes above, or two weight classes above where you are right now, at the drop of a dime. It makes people look at you under a different light, because now they're comparing you to what they're witnessing. They're comparing you to what they're seeing. And they're comparing you to what they expected of you. And now somebody that they view as not as good as you is taking the steps that you said and that the public said you should be taking as well. And the expectations are being done by somebody in Ryan Garcia of chasing the legacy instead of Shakur, when with Shakur, that's what we thought we would see now on a consistent basis. And that's what's got people frustrated. Mind you, many people were saying Shakur couldn't sell, Shakur isn't fun to watch, Shakur isn't going to ever be that big of a star because he can never draw in the public. And he can't get to that ceiling. There was a bunch of people that were saying that. I said he could be a star once he gets to that position. And he can cross that threshold. And he showed it. And now, after wanting the respect, after wanting all the adulation, after wanting the positioning, he got it. And then when it's now, okay, it's going to be easier to make big fights. It's going to be easier to make situations move around in your favor. It's going to be easier where you can make demands and people will capitulate. You can ask for money and people will go and say, yeah, okay, this is the opportunity. I can't pass up. We'll make it happen. People will go and bend the knee to some degree to what you ask for because you are now in a position where your demands hold more weight because you're worth the risk. All of that is true. And with that happening, now you're just not taking advantage of the position that you said people were not giving you the respect of. While somebody else, like Ryan Garcia, is moving in this type of way. It's frustrating. It really is. It really is. And we're going to talk about the fight with Ryan Garcia and Ortiz, what that would look like, how it would go, what Ortiz need to worry about and all that. So we're going to talk about that. But this is just a big scope of spotlight that has just been shined on Shakur even more. Though it's a completely separate situation. Because all of them are in that bubble of 140 and 147. Haney, Garcia, Shakur, all around in the vicinity. Now you got people making moves to be great. There's going to be some comparison. Right now, it's not looking great for Shakur. Because this title that you see is Shakur ducking Haney. You're going to get this asked a whole lot more. And they're going to use Ryan Garcia talking to make a fight with Ortiz as a legitimate crux to go and prop up their argument against Shakur Stevenson that this man doesn't want the smoke like he said he wanted. Because if they can do all this stuff, so can you. And you're in a position where you can make not just more money, but you can make this fight happen even sooner. Which is a simple yes, because you got what you wanted. So it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. I'm telling you, it's just frustrating. But either way, that's what's going down. Now, when it comes to Garcia and Ortiz specifically, back to that conversation. Now with this fight, it's going to be based off of what we saw against Mario Barrios at 147 when Ryan Garcia fought against him. Do we think Garcia is going to look not just the same, but be stronger when he fights again, if he fights against Ortiz at 154? Especially since this is a quicker timetable of moving up to that position than I thought he would do when we were talking about him moving and fighting in the world of boxing and stepping up his competition. I'll be honest, this is not what I expected to see from a potential we're already here and closer to 160 than I ever expected. I didn't think we would ever get here. And this quickly. Is he moving too quickly? It's a whole other question. Do I think his body can handle it? That's one. There's a lot of different physical questions that we need to ask. For the sake of argument, we'll say yes to all of them. We'll say yes, he can go and stand up to the weight. We'll say yes, he's got the frame to build and commit to 154 and have nothing lost with his physical ability. Strength, he'll be stronger. The hooks and speed should still be some of the fastest in the game. I don't think that's deniable. When we're looking at Shakur, when we're looking at Ryan Garcia, he will most likely still be one of the fastest fighters in this division. Without a doubt, from a straight hand speed perspective. One punch, one raw punch. Yeah. But he's faster than Ortiz. He's faster than Fundora. He's faster than, if you want to use Tim Tszyu. Faster than Keith Thurman. The only person you want to say he might be comparable to, Boots Henderson. And I think we've said that he, in terms of Ryan Garcia's got faster hands than Boots. So he would have that in his pocket of the most instantaneous puncher that you got in the division right now would be Ryan Garcia. With the height that would, in all actuality, this would be about where his frame would belong. He wouldn't be one of the smallest people here, but he definitely also like we've seen at 140 or 135 or 147 even, tower or be able to be so much more bulky than the rest of them. But that build would still be laden with an added weight behind all his punches. Don't be surprised if we do see this fight go and step up to the plate and we see it cross the line and Ryan Garcia and Ortiz does happen. Don't be surprised if you see them stand side by side and you're like, oh, the height difference of Ryan Garcia is not that big at this division anymore. That aspect of ability of being able to be so much more towering in dominance, like he's been in small divisions, that's taken away. But that's not going to hide the physical strength that this brother's going to have. It's going to be a problem. It will. At 154. I'm almost sure it's going to be a problem at 154. It's fair to say there will be a problem at 154 because of what we've already seen. And with him filling out this much, mind you, 147 was the most physically dominant Ryan Garcia we had seen in his career due to not having to cut weight and with him being able to rehydrate a lot easier because at baseline, 147 is him filled out at more weight than he's had to come into for the majority of his fights. He looked more comfortable than ever before, especially with both hands healthy. He looked fresher than we'd ever seen before. Stamina was better than we ever seen before. The entire operating body of Ryan Garcia looked better, looked more fluid, looked more tuned to the fight at hand. And the struggle of comfortability of being not at your best was washed away. It's going to be even more substantial here now with this fight with like Ortiz if it took place. There's going to be a legitimate threat of strength on strength that Ryan Garcia can potentially win even against one of the strongest fighters in the likes of Ortiz. The issue is now this is where a fight inexperience is going to play a major factor. It will. This is where fights and experience are going to be a huge factor in how this fight is going to go. Without a doubt. Because because when we're looking at Ryan Garcia and Ortiz as a potential fight that can actually happen now. Ortiz, just like with Boots, at an elite level at 154, has experienced in durability, wars of attrition, power against power, that on a longer scale, that I think Ryan Garcia's faced. Now, with that being said, there's an argument that Ryan Garcia has had a higher peak of competition that he's been up against in his career because of Tank Davis and Devin Haney. Want the Mari Bars in there, so be it. But specifically Tank and Haney, from the perspective of who's seen what in the ring, that experience argument may not be so much more in line with Ortiz as we would expect, because Ortiz, with all due respect to the fights with Boachuk and Lubin and all the other fights in his career, he's never faced somebody as gifted as a Devin Haney or a Gervonta Davis. It's one of the biggest things that we have with against Boots Ennis. The experience of Ortiz at this big stage where everybody is a killer, and the experience against more proven assets of opponents. That has been one of the bigger things in the Boots Ortiz saga. Boots hasn't been up there yet with the kind of caliber that Ortiz has been up there yet. Not just in this division, but in his entire career. So he was going to see things and have somebody be able to do things and have tricks of the trade he's maybe not been in the ring with before because of the in-ring experience that Ortiz has had over Boots. But with Ryan, it's a bit different. It's not even a bit different. We've lauded Ortiz's ability. We've lauded Ortiz's acumen power, his relentlessness, his fight against Majimov was a great fight. His 2-round destruction of Lubin was impressive. The whole career, even without a title, he's been always touted as one of the best talents up here. Top 3, without a doubt. However, he's never faced somebody with the boxing ability like a Tank or a Devin Haney in his respective career when you go top to bottom with who he's fought. This isn't a detraction. We're talking about the peak of their opponents. The peak of what Ryan has faced is bigger than the peak of what Ortiz has faced. That's the truth. The peak of what Ryan Garcia has faced in his career with Tank and Devin Haney is bigger and greater than the peak of what we've seen Ortiz face off against in his career. Though Ortiz has been in an abundance of fights and wars with a very high caliber of opponents, this is what has made Garcia very special. It's not just the fact that Garcia is so fast. Both Ryan and, well, I'm not going to say Haney. Both Haney and Tank have given Ryan respect. Let me rephrase that, because Tank or Haney, PEDs, the drugs, and all that stuff, that has muddied that whole fight. But at least we can say with Tank Davis, Tank had to give him some respect of what he brought to the table. Because there was some legitimate stuff he had to worry about. And he looks like he is a better fighter now, under the tutelage of Benavidez in that camp, than what he was at that point in time with Tank Davis. At least a healthier fighter. But I think a better one is aptly mentioned. There is a real ability that we can get Garcia to win this fight if it did go down. As much as it sounds like, oh my gosh, preposterous. How can you say that when he's moving up to a weight class that he's never been at before against Ortiz in a raw perspective, where there's no tune-up, no filling up on experience here. He's just jumping into the deep end. I get that. But there is a possibility. Really is a possibility. Because it just depends on if we're going to see if Ryan Garcia's maturity of a fighter has truly taken hold of his career. It's going to need to show up now more than ever. It needed to show up against Devin Haney, and we thought it did initially, but again, the PEDs muddy that whole situation. So this is going to be, if it does happen, a refresher course, or rather a refreshing test of that initial test that we wanted to see. That should be, if it's clean, the full scope of where Ryan Garcia is now as a fighter. Mario Barrios was a phenomenal win that got him back to even for people saying, okay, yeah, he's looked like what he looked like against Devin Haney, even without the drugs. Yeah, Mario Barrios is not nearly as great of a fighter, we understand. But if this is him clean, all right, now we can buy into some stuff. Because it's an opponent that he should have beaten, and he beat him pillar to post. Looking better than even I thought he would look with what he was using in the fight. Understandable. Great. If we get this fight with Ortiz, this is going to be cleanly the test, or a retaking of the test of who you are and how good you are. That was supposed to be Devin Haney. It's going to be a retaking of that test. Because we want to know if because this is going to be, can you do it? Move it up cleanly and beat somebody that is one of the best up here for a lot of people. And I can't wait to see it. If it does happen, I can't wait to see it. We got more people in the chat. Like with Von Green here. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream. We thank you for the support and the love on our show. Hopefully you're enjoying your day today. We're in the championship rounds of this show. Don't forget, we are having you all have your questions and comments be heard and seen for the masses around the globe. You control the flow of this entire show. We have topics of discussion and whatnot, absolutely. But you are the ones for this show and every Friday that can change how we go every single day or every day this week. On Fridays, I'm getting tongue-tied. Today is the day that you can go and change whatever you want to talk about into whatever debates and conversations you would like. But as we can see in the chat, we got people talking. I have a funny feeling that Devin is going to call out Manny Pacquiao and bring him back out of retirement. Just my opinion. Well, look, I hope not, because right now Manny Pacquiao is supposed to be getting ready for a fight with Floyd Mayweather in a rematch later on this year. However, with the likes of Floyd Mayweather getting sued to Kingdom Come by every boxing promoter for a multiplicity of fights, that fight may not be happening. Who knows what's going to go down there? I tell you what, who knows at this point? But I don't think he would call out Pacquiao, only because I think the next thing that he's trying to do is Keyshawn Davis at this point in time. But if it's true and it happens, I think Devin Haney would win, but that's definitely going to be something that we would love to talk about. Let me see. I just tapped in. Joshin Wagner, how you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you and everybody else in the chat. Please, if you haven't already, leave a like on the stream. We got 9 people in the chat. Add 9 likes to the stream. 1 like makes a world of difference to make this channel reach the masses all across the globe, if you would be so kind. But you say you just tapped in, and Virgil in a question mark? Yeah. That's what's looking like it's going to be going down. That legitimately, Virgil Ortiz and Ryan Garcia are now beginning talks with each other as a potential fight that can go down in lieu of Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia. And I'll even put it right here, as you can see in the picture-in-picture, to let you see exactly what's going on. Reported by, once again, reported by AFL TV. This is coming from Eric Gomez himself, Golden Boy's president. He's revealed, Golden Boys Promotions, Eric Gomez has revealed that they've contacted Virgil Ortiz regarding a potential fight with Ryan Garcia. And he was expected to make his defense against Conor Benn at 147 for the WBC title. But now it looks like he could get a potential fight with Virgil Ortiz as his next fight, in place of the Conor Benn fight with Ryan Garcia. So it might happen later in the year, but it could be Ryan Garcia moving up to take on another belt instead of fighting against Conor Benn. That's what is the going sentiment of potential rumor mill going down, and it's incredibly exciting. And we're discussing that fight and everything involved with, if it does happen, how would it go, what would it look like, and in fact, not only what this does to potential Shakur Stevenson and the reputation he's garnered with not taking the fight with Shakur, and now we got somebody all of a sudden stepping up, and moving out. Also, this will be a huge win and a huge change in the perception of Ryan Garcia if he went through and beat Virgil Ortiz. Straight up. It would be massive if he went and accomplished this, if it did in fact happen. Let me see. Vaughn, I'm down for it. There's money in being the villain, and when Dev is done with Manny, he'll be a villain. Oh yeah, no, most likely. Absolutely. He will be a villain like up to no end if he fought against the likes of Manny Pacquiao. That would be the ultimate love-hate type of battlefield. And a couple years ago, y'all would love to see that fight if it was Manny Pacquiao closer to his prime. Now, yeah, I probably, most definitely, I'm picking Manny Pacquiao to sadly, to lose to Devin Haney, because again, I'm a Manny Pacquiao fan, I'll be completely honest. Also, we got Wagner with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for you supporting the channel and giving alms to the empire. Absolutely helping us grow, helping us thrive, helping me to pay the bills, and helping us to edify this show. We thank you so much for your support. No question about it. We appreciate the $5 super chat to the channel. Let me see, Daryl Anderson. If Benavidez becomes undisputed, but doesn't fight Jai or Arthur afterwards, would that be a duck? If they were the mandatories, if it was Benavidez fought Bivol, and then Arthur BF was, and I think would still be the mandatory, and then he didn't fight him, that would be a problem. Vice versa, if he fought at cruiserweight, became undisputed, and Apatai was number 1 contender, and he didn't fight him, that would be a problem. But that would also be predicated on what would be the move if he didn't fight either one of them. If it was a rematch with Bivol instead of a fight with Arthur BF outright, People would say, okay, that's fair. Bebo would deserve a rematch. Or vice versa with Apataya. Or vice versa with whoever he beats for undisputed. Okay, boom, they get a rematch. Maybe we can understand. Or if it's a move to heavyweight after he becomes undisputed at cruiserweight, we couldn't say that's a duck, because we would say that's an even bigger problem going up there, because most of you all in the chat were saying he doesn't belong up at cruiserweight. But if there is indeed a clear-cut road that we could get one of those two fights depending on which division he's in, and he doesn't take it, and he doesn't move in a fight that is as much of a task or a bigger task, then yeah, you better believe we would have to call that a duck in that situation. We would have to. Because it would be like, okay, hey, there should not be a holdup, and if there is, yeah, it's a problem. So I think that's a fair, a collective way to look at it. Let me see. I think Virgil might be a step too far for Ryan, but this is why they fight the fights, and that's what we're saying. Ryan Garcia taking this test, or potentially, let me not say him taking it outright, because nothing's confirmed. Ryan Garcia taking this test right now is very exciting and also very dangerous. But this is who Ryan Garcia is. We have always looked at this man as somebody who does not avoid the competition of the moment. And if there isn't something happening where he's at, he's been always looking to go and push the envelope and do something against somebody that is at minimum a risk and at maximum a huge risk. This tracks in a good way for how Ryan Garcia wants to move in his career. It could be a step too far, understandable. But because of that, he's always gravitated towards, if this is a step too far, I want to take that risk. Because crazy enough, at least there's a lot you can say about Ryan Garcia, but he has been about legacy in boxing. He's been one of the few people that has taken on two of the four kings of 135. Or excuse me, two of the five kings of 135. Between Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Teo, Ryan, Devin Haney, Shakur, Tank, Lomachenko. Let me rephrase that. There's 7. Of the 7 names that have been around 135, and they were all in that vicinity. He's taking on Ryan. Ryan Garcia is taking on Tank, Devin Haney. Two of the 7. Devin Haney has taken on Lomachenko and Ryan Garcia. Ain't many people that have done more than one of that sect of 7 people. Excuse me. Also Lomachenko. Devin Haney fought Lomachenko as well. So we're saying this is exactly what he does. And the fact that he's been touting, I am about getting the biggest fights possible, and has genuinely kept on moving in that way, we have to respect that at minimum amongst everything else. Because there's never been a situation that I've seen with Ryan Garcia where he has not talked that talk and then tried to back it up by actually, okay, we're going to get it done. Plain and simple. We want the likes of Shakur, Tank, and others to do what we're seeing Lomachenko, or do what we're seeing Ryan Garcia do now, because he has been, in that regard, a standard bearer. Sure, he's not of the people. People may not look at him as the best of that entire sect. He's a great fighter. Do not get me wrong. But he's not at the tip of the top of the talent pool in this very dense 7 names that we've named. But he is indeed the most gutsy, the most belligerently crazy, from the perspective of, you've rarely seen this cat not be in a fight that hasn't pushed the envelope in some capacity of either answering a question or shutting down a question of what he is and who he should be. Plain and simple. This man deserves respect because he has been moving like not just a champion, he's been moving like a dog. He's been moving like a dog. And we want others to follow that same dogmatic leadership in that regard, to make stuff shake and make stuff happen. Don't talk about it, be about it. That's what we say about fighters all the time. That's what we want to have happen. Don't talk about it, be about it. And right now, oh, sorry, I thought I felt something on my foot. Sorry about that. And right now, that's what we got going on. That's what we have showing up before our eyes yet again. Ryan Garcia is not just talking about it. He's being about it. And we love it. We absolutely love it. Let me see. At least he's trying. That's what I'm seeing. That's the biggest thing. He's trying to do something great. And that's what we all respect it. We all of them respect it. Let me see. Joe Shim, you say facts. I'm glad you agree. So the fight with Conor is canceled, or the fight with Conor is canceled, or is it still happening? At this point in time, it is not canceled, at least officially. I would not be surprised, though, if this takes the place of that fight. If they do come to a legitimate consensus. For whatever reason why that fight's not happening, because this is coming out, again, this is Eric Gomez personally, owner of Golden Boy. This ain't Oscar De La Hoya. This is the brother above Oscar saying we reached out to try to make this fight happen. This could be he's agreeing to this fight to where, similar to what we saw with Bam Rodriguez, after Bam agreed to fight Martinez before even fighting Kafu. And he essentially had 2 fights in a done deal back to back already on the table, assuming he would already win. That's how confident he was. This could be what Ryan Garcia is doing. It could be that the fight's canceled, but it also could be that straight up Ryan Garcia is making this talk and is agreeing to make stuff happen already in the future because he's so confident. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get Conor Ben out of there. Let's already talk about a fight to happen late in the year. And so we already know what's up. So I can keep on pushing the envelope because I know I'm going to win. It could be like that. So it could be one of those 2 instances that could be taking place. Let me see. Yo, spoiler, what's going on? How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show. As I'm drinking my coffee, we appreciate you on our show today. What does Ryan Garcia say? Protect the children when he has a child. What is it? When he has a child himself? Wait, hold on, wait. Did I read this right? What does Ryan Garcia say? Protect the children when he himself left his wife and child. Now, see, the personal stuff I can't get into because I don't know all the stuff that went on personally. We deal with the just straight up the boxing sense of the world of this sport. The personal stuff, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about his wife, kids, none of that. That's not me trying to save face. I legitimately don't know. So I can't speak on it. It'd be unfair if I did. If this is true and he left him because of a selfish reason and it was actually a happy family, well, it's horrible. Straight up. Well, we keep it clean. We keep it a buck. If he left because it was a needed situation that this child, and they need to separate, and those problems, well, then that's what happened. I don't know, so I can't say, so I can't be a part of that conversation. But what I do know is that, again, the reputation of Ryan Garcia has been incredibly volatile. And that's played in part to why we see the known ability of excuse me, let me rephrase it. The reputation of Ryan Garcia, for better or for worse, because there's a lot of bad. What I do know, there is a lot of bad. There's also been some good. Most of the good's been inside the ring, and the notoriety with streaming, as people have seen with him being with Aiden Ross, being with DDG and all these other streamers across the globe, which, hey, it's cool. It's cool. But we've seen him become one of the most polarizing figures in the sport, similar to Tank. From the standpoint of something's always going on where he's in news in one facet or another for whatever reason. The art of chaos, almost is what you can call it. And it's a rare thing It's crazy I'm saying this, but I'm saying this because there's history backing this. Look at Mike Tyson. Yes, Mike Tyson's fervor from the public ultimately came. He was putting people to sleep, knocking people out, and turning into one of the best heavyweights we had seen. When he was in his prime, though that prime was very short, he deserved all the adulation that he garnered. There's been nobody else like him. But also, it was perpetuated that fame was bolstered up even more because of the virality of who Tyson was. And this was before viral moments became a thing in the framework of the social media. It was before social media. It was when the three MJs or when the three Mikes were running the world, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, and Michael Jackson, before social media, they were having viral moments when viral wasn't a thing. The stories, the reputation, the aura, specifically of Mike Tyson, the fear of Mike was essentially one of the three pillars of the biggest names in the world at that point in time. Michael Jordan, elegance and grace. Michael Jackson, outright an intensity of greatness and all around just untouchable aura. And in Mike Tyson, the entity was straight up fear. But because of that, it made you gravitate toward him because no matter what went on, my gosh, it's Mike. It's a raging pool in the China shop. This man can knock out you, and me. But guess what? Even if I'm in danger, I want to see what the world's going on because it's such a beauty in said violence that nobody else is able to replicate. Everything about it was enthralling. Because it was a unique combination. It made him so much larger than life, even with his in-ring performances. That's what we're seeing with Garcia. He's not on the level of Mike Tyson, be clear. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the art of using chaos in your favor. That's what we've seen Ryan Garcia be able to do. He's been crazy. He's been belligerent. He's been all this stuff, good and bad, but he's been able to continually be relevant in a way that is not just ho-hum, but it constantly captures the imagination of just people. Opinions are very strong, very stark, incredibly intense, but all around is accomplishing the same thing. They just will not look away. That's why it's become one of the biggest faces in the sport. 10 million or so, more than 10 million followers, I believe, across social media platforms. Become without having a belt. During the time he was before champion with Mario Barrios, he was getting fights that you would normally see only world champions that have reigned for like 5 or 6 years get. Because he was that polarized. And again, chaos when you can control it. In the ring as well as out and about. It becomes so, even when you can't control it, good gosh, can turn you into something that's just a magnet for people. It really can. And see, the quote right here is perfect. Yeah, Ryan Garcia is polarized. And that's a good thing. That's why this fight is also so big. Coupled with the fact of what we just saw with Ortiz and Boots Ennis in a fight that we hoped would happen, but never actually got a chance to happen. A fight that we wanted to see, but ultimately fell through. That fight left a gap for a lot of people that wanted to have a big-time situation in front of them. That fight left a gap that everybody wanted to see in a fight between two heavy hitters that can go to war, that can clash against each other, and it was going to be a dynamic youth versus experience, age versus beauty, not even age versus beauty, straight up aged in power versus youthful intensity. Somebody was going to get proven what they are and what they aren't as a dominant fighter, because your skill set is going to be set and understood for the world to see after the outcome of this fight. We gonna know what you are. And now we don't get there. Ryan Garcia, if he comes in and does this, the same question is going to apply for this fight. We're going to find out who you are. We're going to find out what you are about. We're going to find out who you want, not just who you want to be. We're going to find out how good you are. Because this is going to be the proving ground to show whether or not you are worth your weight in salt, like we say, or not. Conor Ben can answer that question, but only if you lose. Straight up. If Ryan Garcia lost to Conor Ben, hypothetically in this fight, there wouldn't be a question about what, okay, yeah, this brother's, we know where he is now. Up and down fighter, can be great, can be bad. We're going to put him middle of the road. But if he won that fight, it would not be a drastic shift to make everybody say, oh my gosh, yeah, this brother's all that in the bag of chips. It would be a good win. I'm not diminishing the win, but the elevation of positioning in the world of boxing would not all of a sudden say, okay, this brother's better than Boots, or this brother's top 10, or this cat is this, that, and the third, way above Devin Haney, or way above Shakur Stevens. It wouldn't move in any way like that if he won. But against Ortiz, that's a different game. You can lose to Ortiz, but if you look really good, even in a loss, all of a sudden we're going to say, okay, you're better than what we thought. You still elevate. And if you beat Ortiz, you elevate immensely. All of a sudden you beat Ortiz, well, we got to call you the second best fighter at 147 now. Is that wrong? That's not wrong, is it? That would be, those are the positions of what this fight can be. Those are the extremes and even the minimums of what we can see in a fight with Ortiz and Ryan Garcia versus a fight with Conor Ben and Ryan Garcia. Two different worlds of outcome can happen based on the fight, but one is a whole lot more not lenient, but one is a whole lot more elementary, and the other one is a whole lot more risky, but it allows for you to be potentially greater. That's the one with Ortiz. That's the one the public wants to see. Or at least that's the one, if the public got it, it would be vastly more intrigued. It would. Because Ryan Garcia against Ortiz, he cannot win and still get elevated in everybody's mind for how good he is. He can lose and still be fine. Not saying he wouldn't be fine already, but he can lose and gain a whole lot of respect if he looks really good, or even if it's a robbery. We've seen a couple robberies in this year alone of fights that, okay, yeah, we need to keep an eye on this cat, because this brother, he should have won that fight, and he is immensely above anything that we thought. But if he wins outright, guess what that does for Ryan Garcia? All of a sudden, that changes the narrative of with Devin Haney. That changes the narrative of his competitiveness with the rest of the 154-pound division and below. All of a sudden, we're not looking at the Garcia post, the Garcia pre-Ortiz changes everything that we saw before in his career. Changes everything. The whole outlook shifts. The whole trajectory of his place in boxing elevates immensely. His entire reputation goes from what we see with Ryan Garcia now, with all the good and bad, into simply, my gosh, Devin Haney, you might be in trouble. This brother might be able to beat Sebastian Fundora. He could become a unified champion. We don't see Boachuk beating him. We don't see Madrimov beating him. We don't see, if he beats Ortiz, Charlo, you ain't going to have a comeback against him. L. Spence, if you do come back and are able to win and get back up to a championship level, you ain't going to be able to beat him. We're going to see him be in such a talked about position that everybody's going to look at him and say, well, nobody else is going to be able to contend with him except for potentially Fundor and Boots Ennis. 147, Devin Haney, you don't want that work because this buddy just beat Ortiz. You now, you're going to be food. It's going to be worse than last time, and it's going to be clean this time, especially if he beats Ortiz and no ill-gotten gains come up in testing because of drugs. Brian Norman Jr., you ain't got no shot. Shakur, if you ever get close to what we see with 154, hey, sure, we think you're a better fighter. Guess what? Now, this better beat Ortiz. If you ever even sniff 154, even if he comes back down, guess what? It's going to be a whole lot closer than we may have expected of what we can see Ryan Garcia do against you. Because you, even now, against Ortiz, people are saying that might be iffy. But he did it. And don't let him be dominant. Don't let him knock out Ortiz as a potential possibility of success that he can have winning this fight. All of a sudden, greatest thing since sliced bread. You're going to hear people say that. The entire makeup of the totem pole of boxing, where we had Ryan Garcia amongst his peers, it will flip directly on his head. It'll be a nightmare. He would be right back at the zenith of one of the biggest names in the sport. He was already big. He would be nearly at his peak of where he was when he fought Tank. If he beat Ortiz, he would have that much power. That's what's at stake for this fight. Let alone, now you're the mandatory for any of the belts at 154. All that's everything like that is on the table. It's exciting. It really is. It really is. Virgil Ortiz, super welterweight. Virgil Ortiz, super welterweight, undefeated at 16-0. This is not me trying to say that Ortiz is not. It should not be favored if this fight does happen. I'm simply painting a picture of what this would mean if Ryan Garcia got this fight and won this fight. The boxing world will not just be turned on its head, but most people would then start to look at Ryan Garcia as now he is the unbeatable force because he now is doing stuff that we don't even see Devin Haney or Shakur being able to do. Or we were saying they might struggle against this type of guy because of the weight and because of the ability. And if Ryan Garcia was able to come through and decimate Ortiz hypothetically, dare I say knock him out and beat him, that changes everybody's perception immediately of Ryan Garcia from a potential up and down level superstar that has good performances, has bad performances, but some people are concerned about what he is truly as a boxer. All of those potential qualms will be put to rest. Everything. It would be. And it would be insane. It would be one of the most insane things we've seen. Preposterous. But that's what would be at stake. Absolutely. It's a great hypothetical situation for Ryan as far as the possibilities it will produce. Virgil would shine as well if he wins due to Ryan's popularity. Oh, let me tell you something. If Virgil Ortiz, we can talk about this on the other end of the spectrum. If we saw Virgil Ortiz be the one to beat Ryan Garcia and knock him out cold, even at the best outcome, everything about Boots saying he's the cash cow would be put into question at 154. Everything. Because then the notoriety that we would see with the likes of Boots would be challenged by the newfound fandom, support, and respect that Ortiz will garner. Because even, to be clear, we've talked about Ortiz's popularity. Ortiz as a fighter is great, but Ortiz as a known fighter is not as great in the world of boxing. It's just not. Even in his own hometown, we got people from his state and hometown that came in on this chat. They don't know him personally, but they're just around the area. And they were saying, yeah, man, this cat, he's good. But he is not repped by this city and repped by the people here in the same way that you would expect for how good he is. It's not really, it's not tethered in that way like with the Boots and Philadelphia or Javante Davis and Baltimore or a Canelo in Mexico or something along those lines where we're going to come out and we're going to claim him. This our guy, this our dude, and we supporting him come rain or shine. Because he's not that known. And it's not that ingrained in the minds of the public here. Not because he's not good, but he just hasn't gravitated like that over here. But if he went through and won against Ryan Garcia, all of that shifts. Even without a title. That's not just the biggest payday of Ortiz's career. That's a level of notoriety that would have everybody paying attention in a way that Boots would have to go and start to change his tune about what it means to fight him. Because he would not be the biggest payday that Ortiz would have. He would not be the biggest payday that is possible in that division if we saw Ryan Garcia get up here. Then Ortiz could say, I've made the money. I've made more money than you could make coming up to this division. I've garnered the biggest gate that we've seen at 154 this year. I've been the man that beat the man that washes you in notoriety. And I got a bag that you want to be able to touch someday, but you haven't gotten there yet. I have. Because I've been in this division. I've been working. I've been busy while you've been lollygagging, and now look at what happened. I just showed you I beat the A-side guy. I should be an A-side fighter, and I've made money that you've never touched yet because I beat Ryan Garcia. Now you got to change how you operate. Coming to me, come correct. It might be a whole lot easier now to get some championship opportunities with Ortiz, not just with Boots, but in everybody in general. Because a lot of people didn't want to fight Ortiz because of Ortiz being so destructive, yet not being as notable in the world of boxing. On a popular scale, keep your belt as long as possible. Though there's no really good way to run at 154. There's some people that don't want to fight him. There are. It ain't been completely his fault. There is a lot of fault to put on Ortiz, but it hasn't been completely his fault that he hasn't been able to get a world championship opportunity yet, while being interim titleist for more than I would have liked to see. It's not completely his fault, but there is fault to have with him that we've discussed before on this show. But all of that would change if Ortiz beat Ryan Garcia. All of that would change. All of it would change. Because see, it almost changed for Rolly Romero. Rolly willingly did not fight anybody at all after beating Ryan Garcia, which was preposterous to say. We saw Ryan Garcia get a title shot and move to get a championship before Rolly Romero. And Rolly didn't want to, could have fought Devin Haney, didn't want to fight Devin Haney because it was born. And didn't really move to go and elevate his own stock off of the backs of that win for over a year. And it let all that stardom pass him by. Ortiz is not going to be doing it. It would be huge. It would be huge. Massive for Ortiz if he won this fight. Absolutely. Let me see. Boots could lose everything he thinks he is in a week's time. After that fight, he could lose a lot. He could lose a lot. If we're talking about, you talking about, well, actually, there's a multiplicity of ways we can discuss this specific comment. Because if you talk about the fight itself, Ortiz versus Boots, if that fight ever happened, yeah, he could lose all this stuff in a week's time. If you're talking about Ortiz and Ryan, and if Ortiz beat Ryan, and that week everything would shift, there's a lot of truth to that. But it's not losing everything. Ortiz would gain a level playing field to the popularity of Boots Ennis that Boots would have not seen coming. Boots would not necessarily lose everything. Oh, excuse me. No, I mean, okay. No, okay. I see that. You mean literally next week. Okay. Okay, I get you. I got you. I understand. I thought you were I thought you were saying by next week, Ryan could that Ortiz and Ryan fight could be signed, and now the leverage of Boots could be changed and lose all the stuff that he came into the division. I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, Boots. Yeah, he could lose just about everything if he does lose his Xander Zayas. Now, it Boots would lose a lot of reputation, but it wouldn't be insurmountable that he couldn't recover. Let's paint that. It wouldn't be insurmountable that he couldn't recover. It would just be everybody that's talked about him as not just the greatest thing since sliced bread, but has talked about him as already pound for pound number one. Can't nobody stop him. This man's invulnerable. This man's untouchable by mortal man. All of that would turn into you're a fraud. You suck. You were never that great. You were never that good. Now this comes with the territory when it comes to anybody who's a star. But for Boots, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. Boots against Zayas has the opportunity to lose everything. That's the truth. Boots versus Zayas has the opportunity to make Boots lose everything. But it's because of the previous established reputation without the substance of winning that you would want to see from somebody who's been this type of boogeyman for multiple divisions. If he had a resume that was a lot more flushed out, the sting of defeat that would come against Zayas would not be nearly the same. Let's be honest, it wouldn't be the same. It would not be the same. But because this is people saying this is the first real huge test for Boots to have against Zayas, even detracting against Stanionis, this would be the one and only chance for a lot of people to say, hey, this brother is everything we thought, or this brother's a bum. Why did we ever believe him? We should have never compared him to Roy Jones Jr. because he ain't like that. Oh, the fall from grace can be massive. It can be massive. But it could also be that, again, a loss for Boots could be the thing that could shift him into that next gear. I'm not going to be like I think it was Sean Zito that said boxing might be better if Boots loses this fight. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say, though, we've seen it before where a loss is what is the catalyst to make them understand, okay, this is what it's like up here. And this is what it takes to win up here. And this is what I need to fix to be great up here. So because of that, I now know who I need to be. And then their career changes for the better. This could be that type of fight. If it goes awry and Boots loses, okay, boom. Zayas is that great. Boots, you are good, but now you know what it takes to be great here. And now you know how to go and change to become the fighter that we think you can be. Because you can still be it. You just were never there like we thought you were. Oh, it's going to be a crash and burn. It's going to be a fiery blaze of disappointment for a whole lot of people. For a whole lot of people. But he doesn't lose everything from the sense of there's no coming back. I don't think that. But it is a drastic drop that if you're not fortified mentally enough, you won't have the means to be determined enough to come back from that defeat. It can be bad. It can be very bad. It can get very bad for the likes of Boots. Ennis. Let me see. It would be somewhat deserved because Boots himself stands on top of a hill he placed himself on. The outcome cannot fall short of the hype in this situation particularly. This will be a lot of people's first time watching both, but the hype is heavy on Boots. Imagine hearing a guy is unbeatable and unstoppable, and both take place. Oh yeah, no, it's major. It's major. It absolutely is major. And this is one of these same This is what Tank went through. Let's keep it a buck. Also, if you would, as we're going through, we're still in it. I almost forgot to make sure I kept on doing the plug for this show. This is still the championship rounds, ladies and gentlemen. We still want to hear from you in every regard of this show. It's your time to shine and talk about whatever you want in the course of boxing or beyond with the greater landscape of the sports world. If you so choose to be in the chat, we appreciate it. But please, one like makes a world of difference for us to talk about everything in the world of boxing and beyond. To have us for your viewing and listening pleasure. We want to hear from you. We want to see you. We want to talk to you and all that stuff. And hey, one like helps to get more people involved. So please leave a like on the stream if you have not already. But I digress. Back to the topic. No, this fight for Boots is a coming out party as much as it is a validation. And this fight for Boots was built because we think Boots is as good as he says he is. This fight for Boots is also an urgency fight because Jaron Boots in it for a long time is wasted time. Let's be honest. For a long time, Boots Ennis is wasted time. We said Boots should already be here by the age of 26. 28. You're getting into your prime. By the time Inoue was 28, he was already a multi-time world champion. We have been waiting for Boots to take this leap into this deep end of boxing well before this because he should have been here already. The fact that he's not had everybody upset and mad, understandably so, because we were tired of waiting around to cross that threshold of real proving ground. Now that you're here, you don't have time to mess around. You don't. And you don't have as many opportunities as you would have if these 35 fights had happened with better competition earlier on. You don't have the ability to go and make second impressions or make a first impression multiple times in the same way that you normally would if your career started out moving a little bit more violently. You mess up here, it's going to be a harder road than you expect to even get the people to be back on your side with how they look at you. Mind you, I've said this before. A average win would not be enough for a lot of people in this fight. If Boots Ennis struggles against Xander Zayas, there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, that's just as bad as a loss because you were supposed to take him out and completely manhandle Zayas. This was supposed to be a fight. This was the biggest test that you have, yes, but this is no test for you. Even a good win, even a win, just a win, is not good enough for a lot of people in this fight to say he's as good as he says he is. Don't believe me? Look at what happened when he fought against Shakur. When he fought against Shakur, he won both of those fights. They did not look the best when he fought. And because they didn't look the best when he fought, people had a lot of concerns about Boots Ennis. He did not look like what we thought he was going to look like going up against somebody in Shakur. Both instances. When he was moving around the ring and when he was fighting in the pocket with the likes of Boots. People had a lot to say. People had a lot of concerns. People had a lot of detractions and a lot of warranted critiques. And that was with a win. Anything less than, for most people, a spectacular victory or a definitive dominant victory is going to be something that people say, well, maybe he ain't what we thought. That's the risk that he's running right now. That's the tightrope. Now, with anybody, sure, that's what can take place because when you have a reputation of you're supposed to be this, that, and the third, if you don't do that, well, people are going to say, oh, this brother's a bum. That's not always true. And be clear, if Boots does win, this will still be a good win for the likes of Jaron Boots Ennis. Let's not try to mince words and all of a sudden be revisionist history and say, oh my gosh, he struggled against a bum if he does struggle. No, this is not a bum, and this would not be a bad struggle. But what this would be is a definitive hit the brake on all of the excitement that Boots has garnered. Because it would have a lot of people asking questions that they didn't ask before. Because what you said is right. What they thought was supposed to be the reputation. With many people, this is the first time seeing them. This is going to be the reality. That they don't, if they don't get that thing met, or even if he wins and it's not in the fashion that was talked about with them, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And be clear, don't let it be a split decision. Don't let it be 115, 114, 115, 114, 113, 112, or dare I say 114, 114 outright. Don't let it be that. And then it's a majority decision or a split decision. Don't let it be that. Because if it is, when we were saying Zayas was previously seen as the weakest champion that Boots could take on at that point in time, before this fight came to fruition, that firestorm is going to be something abysmal. That's going to be almost as bad as if he lost outright. That would be almost as bad as if he lost outright for a lot of people. Because of the expectation, it's the expectation that they want. It would shift a lot of things. It really would. It really would. It really would. I'm telling you, man. But this is why, as a fighter, you're built for these moments, or you want to be built for these moments. And you have to be. Because this is what it takes to be not just great, but to make your rungs up to pound for pound. And be clear, all of this revolves around the ability to be pound for pound. We asked about it yesterday. Pound for pound level talent, is Boots pound for pound level or not? I said no. Some people had some concerns, and some people said I wasn't right. Some people said I'm crazy. But I said he's not pound for pound just because of this win, if he does win. And it's going to be more steps to the ladder. If you want to get talked about with Shakur, with Devin Haney, with Better BF, with Benavidez, with Bivol, and all these other names in the top 10, even with Canelo, or currently with Canelo right now, you got to go and do more work than this. That's why, and we're jumping around, but that's why when we're looking at Shakur and Devin Haney, this fight not happening, specifically on Shakur's end, is a very easy way to stagnate your ability to elevate up to the top 10 pound for, or to the top 10 or 5 pound for pound. Boots, this can be the start of a beautiful run. This can be the start of a beautiful this can be the start of a beautiful run. Beautiful run of what can happen when it comes to Boots Ennis versus Andrew Zayas. At the same breath, with Ryan Garcia and Ortiz, Garcia beats Ortiz. That can be the start of, okay, this brother, a couple more wins with Zayas, or excuse me, a couple more wins with Ortiz potentially under the belt if this win just happened. All of a sudden, we're having a completely different conversation than what we were having not even 2 years ago with who Ryan Garcia can be in the world of boxing. Pound for pound. And Shakur, if he goes through, nope, that ain't it. This whole ducking situation with what's going on with him and Haney, this can shift his own perceptions for people of what he should be seen as in belonging in the pound for pound. If all of a sudden, I guess the pound for pound 8th or 9th best fighter in the world, Devin Haney, is potentially in your grasp to take on, and you don't do it, but you got Boots winning, Ortiz or Boots winning, Ortiz and Ryan Garcia winning, and all these people stepping up and stepping out and stepping through competition that is above what they normally are going to operate in, this is going to bring into question. Maybe we have to bump them back down because the consistency is not matching up to what we're seeing from everybody else on the table. It is important. It is all of this conversation still bleeds into one big melting pot when it comes to the world of boxing, because all of this ultimately affects what we see for the best boxers in the world, where they rank and who they are. It's the truth. It really does. It really does. Let me see. I just want to see who is standing when the smoke clears. Same here. Oh, you ain't lying. You are not lying. We are in a, no, that ain't it. We're in the midst of a huge smoking gun in boxing right now. But I don't say it in a bad way. This ain't bad evidence of who in the world, who's the one that pulled the trigger, who's the one responsible. Everybody right now has got their stuff locked and loaded, ready to fire at a multiplicity of targets. We want the guns to go off so we can see the smoke start to fill the room. Because when that happens, action's happening. And I get you. I want to see who's standing when the smoke clears. Absolutely. No question about it. Be clear. Everybody wants to see who stands alone when the smoke finally settles. We saw it when Crawford beat Canelo. The dust finally settled on this era, and he's the best of this era. When Usyk fought at heavyweight, after going through all the other people at heavyweight, when the dust settled, he was the best in that division. In a way, going through 115, 118, and 122, when the dust settled finally, with Nakatani being at that point in time the last pillar, he was the best man at standing, without a doubt, and the best pound-pound fighter in the world. Like I had said multiple times for about a year or two. The dust settling is always the outcome everybody wants. But be completely clear. I am more invested in the guns firing than the dust settling. Because when the guns are firing, stuff is happening. People are getting hit. People are bleeding. Action is going on. Stuff is being actively pushed into place. People are making moves. People are in danger. Somebody has to make a decision of what they're going to do to make it out alive. You can't just stand around because you don't know when the next bullet's going to hit you. So you got to be proactive. I want to see who the best shooter is, not just when the dust settles. I want to see all the smoke straight up fill the room. As you're firing, I need action. The public needs action. The boxing world more than anything. It don't matter about the talk. It don't matter about the debate. It don't matter about the concern. It don't matter about the fandom. It does not matter about anything else involving the world of who's the best man when the chips are down and everybody wants answers. The only thing that's going to settle it ain't going to be, I love Tank, I love Haney, I love Shakur, I love Boots, I think he's the best, I think he's the best. It ain't going to be none of that. It's going to be, what are you throwing? Who you shooting at? Are you firing your gun at all? Because this ain't the time for self-preservation. If we really want an answer, this ain't the time for self-preservation. This ain't the time for business to be over action. And this isn't because I'm saying you people should not have business as a main thing to make their lives better. We want fighters to get their money. We want boxers to get their money. We want fighters and athletes across the sports world to be able to retire and leave this sport better than they came in with it, with them being able to walk away healthy, happy, and never having to do this again. Absolutely. At the same breath, it can get to a point that because you sign up for this game, there are some non-negotiable risks you have to take. And this, when it comes down to when everybody starts to fire, it ain't time to holster your gun. You need to start shooting too. And especially if we're talking about Shakur, don't be starting a gunfight, making a demand of where you want to meet, what street in the city, what time, at high noon, and then you go through, and now when somebody like Devin Haney says, all right, I'll fight you in a duel where you said you wanted to be. What time you said you wanted to be, I'll be there on your clock. And then you don't show up. All of a sudden, guess what? You looking like you got ran out of town without even having to fire. You're making a smart decision. You're trying to go through and say, see, I can make you do stuff on my terms. I'm winning the mental game. This ain't that type of situation. Not now. This ain't that type of situation right now. You're not dealing with, oh, it's time to play mind games. We want you firing your gun because we know this man and you are the best people, are the best shooters in the game. Straight up, there ain't no need for you to wait. Ain't no need for you to act like you're trying to be macho. Ain't no need for you trying to ride off thinking, oh, see, I got you, I'm in your head. You ain't in nothing because ain't no bullet coming out your gun. Not a thing's been done except for it's looking like you are avoiding competition. That's what it looks like with Shakur and Devin Haney. That's what it looks like. Again, you don't gotta like that. I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not trying to be somebody who is just relentlessly attacking Shakur. But this is the reality. Whether it's Boots, Zayas, Ortiz, Ryan, anybody, all of them are fighting for when the dust settles who's on top. But you got to fire to be in this conversation of pound for pound. Don't matter what bullet you pulled in the past, when the next firefight comes and somebody's worthy to go and challenge you, guess what? You got to take it. Especially when everything lines up. And be clear, everything lines up for Shakur. Monetarily, the fight makes sense. On a stage that is worth its weight in gold, the fight makes sense. For the belts, the fight makes sense. Elevating pound for pound, the fight makes sense. Legacy for the rest of your career, the fight makes sense. Positioning you for the next big fight against somebody like a Gervonta Davis, because you could be big enough that finally he brings you, or he comes out of his shell to come and actually take you on when it should have happened years ago. That could finally, you could actually tease him to get out of 135 and fight you at 140. If you go and you face off against Devin Haney and you beat him at 147. Yeah, it's possible. Everything for you is in the future can be opened up with ease to make a fight happen now. You can force people that were avoiding you to fight you. You can make yourself undeniable on a scale that even the most fervent deniers would have to go and bend the knee. You would be big enough that you would eclipse conversations that you were never a part of when it comes to who is leading the face of the sport right now. All that's within your grasp if you just shot your gun after you called out somebody to do. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's not convoluted. It's easy. It's not overly repetitive. It's consistent. We can't let Shakur go unchecked when it comes to moving in a way that we've hated with Fury, that we hated with Canelo, that we hated with Tank, and that we've hated now when it comes to Shakur. We cannot let it slide just because, oh, we may like Shakur or you may like Shakur. We gotta hold fighters' feet to the fire, regardless of who they are, when they're the ones that say they want to be great. This is what it takes. And it's not because we're just being belligerent. It ain't because we don't know boxing. It ain't because we don't know what we want. It's because this same standard we've held for everybody else, and it's the same standard you held for other fighters that were indeed in your line of sight. It's the same standard you held for other boxers that were People that either you wanted to face off against or that you wanted to be in the ring with out of respect, or they were your icons. It's the same standard you held for the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Muhammad Ali, James Toney, Roy Jones Jr., Larry Holmes, Joe Frazier, Joe Louis, Lennox Lewis. It doesn't matter about the second people. Ricardo, I want to say, is it Ricardo Martinez? Is it Ricardo Martinez? No, Ricardo Lopez, Salvador Sanchez. The list can go on and on. Evander Holyfield, Floyd Patterson, Gennady Golovkin even, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns, Wilfredo Benitez. All these fighters and more I've named all have been Hall of Fame. And the same standard what we said needed to happen happened for them. And look at what they achieved. Win, lose, or draw. We cannot let you get off the hook if you say you want to be the greatest of all time. And if you say you're the best in the world. There is no discussion when it comes to that level of consistency, regardless of who you are. And Shakur, we loved you and you had no qualms from me when it came to the public perception of you because of how you were moving. I had no problem. I had no debate. There was no discussion. You were doing exactly what you should. Everything lined up until it didn't. And because it didn't line up, guess what? We're going to get on you the same way we got on everybody else. Not because we're just trying to be haters or because we don't know what we're watching or because we don't understand really what boxing is. Because of what we know and because of what you said about other people, we're just holding you to the same standards. We're keeping you to your own word of what you said was a great boxer. So I don't want to hear that this is overblown. This is just the facts of life that you said others needed to live up to. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, man. This is why I'm so mad that this is even a conversation, that Shakur is ducking Devin Haney. It's why I'm so mad that this is even a proponent of discussion that we can have on this show. Because we just got off in January. We just got from the month of January that none of this stuff applies to you. And within half a year, with everything that we said we could see, now we are seeing you backtrack on the very reputation that you established for yourself because of the good that you did. That's where we're so frustrated with, because we didn't see this coming 6 months ago. I didn't see this coming 6 months ago because I was like, you're cut from a different cloth of what you're trying to be. And now you're moving just like all the other fighters that we said they're not cut for legacy. And it just makes no sense. It just makes no sense. It just makes no sense at all. I'm sick of it. That's the biggest thing I say. I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of it. And I would love to have other fights on the docket. But let's be clear. Who else is Shakur going to fight? This is the other problem. Who else is he going to fight? In regards, if it's not Devin Haney. Because like we covered this very week, Murataya sent him a contract. Verbally said he sent him a contract. Abdullah Mason's at 135. You got Antoine Russell, Dalton Smith, even Andy Hiroko, even though I think he had a draw, either he had a draw or he had a loss against Russell, but still a very good fight. You have names, you have unifications, you have titles that you can go after, yet you're being dead silent on those other opportunities. But you're being vocal about this one opportunity and then going silent again. So I can't even say where you have this option, that option, that option. I can't even say that when you had these options directly after directly after you beat Tia at 140, excuse me, and you didn't entertain any of them. outside of maybe a month or two, I would love to come down to 135. And then you immediately stopped with any talk of that. You got pressed by Murtai because he sent you a contract. You got pressed by Bill Haney because it got you and Keyshawn Davis out. And now you're going AWOL from your own division of 140. And you got names at 140. It's worse than just you're reneging on the words that you said you wanted to do. When you said you wanted to fight Devin Haney, you're not even entertaining the other stuff that we say you have prospects of being able to fight with. There's no, what other conversations have we heard? If somebody can enlighten me about what Shakur can do at the lower divisions of 140 or 135. What other stuff has he alluded to? What other things has he said he wants to do since these negotiations seemingly have stonewalled on his end of the spectrum? And it's been nothing, to my knowledge. Unless I'm wrong, please enlighten me. But it's been nothing. It's been nothing. So it's a shame. It really is a shame. Let me see. Mr. Miyagi, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Salute to you and everybody that's involved. Please, if you're enjoying the show, leave a like on the stream. Keep on sharing your thoughts and opinions. We want to hear your comments on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. It's still the championship rounds today, all day. Be clear. Whatever topics of discussion you want to have, we can talk about them right here on this show. Whatever debates, whatever concerns, whatever types of opinions, takes, questions you want to ask me, you have the floor. It's the championship rounds all day today, like we do every single Friday, for your viewing and listening pleasure. But let me keep on reading what your chats have to say. Shakur contradicts himself. Shakur contradicts himself. Say why if Shaq beat Ford, you would fight him too. To then not be interested, and when Haney accepts your 140, the 144 fight, you then go radio silent. Exactly. This is I forgot all about O'Shaquie Foster. O'Shaquie pressed him two in the middle of the ring. Said I'll come to 140, and you've yet to say anything. And you said if the money's right for all these fights, and there's no money better than Devin Haney. I never thought I would see Shakur, after getting the level of respect, notoriety, and publicity that he deserved to have, to make it so that fighters would not want to run away from him. I never thought I would see the day that he, as a fighter, is doing the same stuff that we've seen other boxers do, that we said that we hated. When the whole reason why he said he couldn't get stuff done was because people didn't want to do business with him because he was too boring and too much of a risk. Because if Shakur beats you, you're not going to look good in defeat. And you're going to lose some stock because people are going to say, oh my gosh, buddy, you look like you're untouched by everybody. You couldn't lay a finger on him. This is the problem. This is terrible. People say that consistently about why they don't want to fight you. And now you get to that position and you're just, you're moving like everybody else. It's just, how, it just frustrating. It just frustrating. This is one of my main issues. We are only holding these guys to the things they said themselves. That's absolutely right. We're not trying to make up stuff. We're not trying to go and be. We're not trying to go and be uber unfair. We're not trying to go and shift stuff around. We're not trying to make up stories. I won't even say we. I'm not trying to make up stories. I'm not trying to change my opinions on a whim just because I feel some type of way. That's not how I roll. I can't say that for everybody. That's not how I roll. I try to be as consistent as possible. And I'm saying me because I don't want to rope anybody else into situations as it may not apply to them. I'll hold my own stuff accountable. And because of that accountability, this ain't right based on what I've said and based on what Shakur said. And we don't need this. That's the thing. We don't need this. This doesn't have to be this much of a stressful event. But sadly, these are the things that we had to delve into that continually it just makes no sense. And be clear, understand this about Shakur. As quickly as his stock rose because of what he had been doing, as quickly as his stock rose because of the success of T.O. or over T.O., and because people were finally saying, okay, I think he can beat Tank. I think he's that much of a talent. I think he's top whatever. As quickly as that came about, that it elevated his stock, it can drop at the drop. It can drop at like that. It can drop like that without any recourse. Even if you don't fight, it can drop because we see what's going on. Again, Tank. I keep using Tank because he's had so many examples of the exact problems of what's going on with Shakur right now. Tank, without fighting, lost a massive amount of support because of the reputation hit that he took from him not taking fights alone. Forget the outside stuff. Strictly by him not taking fights. He got so much flack. And what there's no way that Tank is looked at. People can say the sport is exciting with him in it, but he's not looked at the same way in any way, shape, or form. Even if you take away the outside stuff going on with Tank, that again is bad. Strictly by his in-ring stuff, people are frustrated now because of how he's moving, because of what he's saying and what he's not doing. People cannot take it, and justifiably so. It's a mess. It's a pain. It is an outright pain that has everybody just fits, literal fits, because they know better. They're smart. Not only are they smart, we know exactly what we want to see. And it's so frustrating. And even with that, even beyond that, forget Shakur. Devin Haney now has got movement that he can do that can take all this momentum and apply it to himself. And I'm about to play it right now. Before I do, let me read your chat. I'm fair and reasonable, but also we'll call it straight down the middle. Exactly. That's all we're doing. But even with that, forgetting Shakur Stevenson, if we go with Devin Haney in regards to this other half of the equation, well, now it kind of looks like we know what's going down with him, as he's going to be fighting seemingly Keyshawn Davis. Because in the same interview that we saw with Eric Gomez, I think talking about Ryan Garcia and Ortiz, now we got him talking about Devin Haney, and the mandatory that now has been activated, or rather has now been positioned with Keyshawn Davis. And it looks like he's alluding to this fight is indeed going to be the thing that we see next. But don't take my word for it. I will let Gomez tell you himself what the next step is in the world of Devin Haney in his career as he reigns as a WBO champion.
Shakur is the WBO champion at 140 pounds.
Yeah.
And Devin is the champion at 147 pounds.
Yeah.
Is there an exemption or, or a super champion status that can be allowed to make that fight happen? Is there like, if Devin can become a super champion so you can allow that fight without being stripped? Is that possible?
No, at this stage, at this juncture, it cannot be allowed as an exception because there's a mandatory pending.
Shakur is the W.
Again, that's important. The mandatory pending means that currently right now, there is, if I'm interpreting this correctly, if I understand this thing right, there is an active mandatory fight that needs to happen. That I believe has been activated and stuff has to shake, or else Devin Haney's going to get stripped. And that mandatory is currently Keyshawn Davis, who is number one ranked fighter at 147 pounds right now, as with the move up that occurred. So because of that, Devin Haney, due to that, if this fight was able to be agreed upon when they were first initially talking about Devin Haney and Shakur, the exemption may have been able to actually happen. But per Gomez himself, due to at this stage in time, that mandatory window, now you need to get it done, or else you're going to be stripped. And unless Devin Haney is really gung-ho and saying, look, I want this mega fight with Shakur, most likely he's going to want to stay championship. We're going to probably get Devin Haney versus Keyshawn Davis this year for the WBO title. That's what it seems to be. That's the consistent thing. And all that noise that we heard with Keyshawn Davis finally paid off. It did. It did. It did. It finally did. We do all that again after he beat Ortiz. It was not. It was a similar, not similar, but you could draw some parallels to what we saw with Shannon Briggs making a bunch of noise trying to fight Vitaly Klitschko. All that rhetoric. Going on social media, going to his house, acting like, recreating some of the scenes from Friday with Debo Dev, as everybody's calling him now, going through and saying, hey, but I'm going to snatch your chain and all this stuff. Now he has, especially with Jay Prince going and helping to advocate to make him number one contender. Because we're in that window now that his mandatory is pending, they have to make a fight or else he's going to get stripped. So now we're going to get it going down. Most likely, we're going to get that fight happening. Where? I don't know. When? I don't know. It's just going to have to be this year. It's going to have to be this year. And this is going to be, for many, it's going to be a great fight. At least a high-profile fight that everybody's going to be buying into, invested into, looking very closely at, no question about it. Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis, there's going to be a lot of different instances of what this fight could be. Power over precision when it comes to the pot-shotting jab of Devin Haney versus the physical framework of a Keyshawn Davis, a potentially unlocked physical framework of Keyshawn Davis, who does not like making weight. Now we won't have to worry about making weight at all when it comes to fighting at 147. That'll be well and good. Big enough for him to easily make the weight without having to do anything excess and then ballooning up potentially well and good wherever he wants to be at. Because he's, again, got a frame and a build that can go well past 147 once he really lets himself rehydrate fully. But this is an excellent opportunity for Keyshawn Davis to be the best Keyshawn we've seen from a physical standpoint. And that's the very physical framework has always been the thing that we say, if you can dominate Devin Haney in that regard, you've won half the fight. Because half the fight for Devin Haney has always been and is still being able to be physically dominant. Not because he's just knocking you out, but because he's able to fight so big and in the clinch, control you to wherever he wants you to be. That's what he wants. That's what he likes to do. And if you're not strong enough to do anything about it, or not slick enough to get under all of those clinches and get around that size, where he's going to go and just keep you at bay and then hold you to kingdom come. That's what he likes to do. Keyshawn can potentially be strong enough to leverage that position of Devin Haney wanting to clinch and turn that into, now I can rip you downstairs and upstairs. I can free myself and land shots upstairs to you. I can go and hurt you. I can go and tag you. I can go and do all this stuff to you because you're now in my wheelhouse. That's what we could see. Take some of that Terrence Crawford influence and apply that to an offensive weapon that can go and do some real damage and concern to the head and body of Devin Haney. Now, he did get hit against Albright a lot. He got caught with some shots that Devin Haney, he'll definitely be able to land with that jab alone, let alone if he actually throws that right straight that we know now actually got some pop. It could be a bad night. It could be a bad instance. But there is some ability to win. biggest thing of it all, and also Mr. Miyagi, I see you. Let's go, champ. See, I'm telling you. That Shannon Briggs, he did his big one with that whole campaign. I'm talking about on the water, in a restaurant, wherever. You literally could not sleep or eat if you were a Klitschko without Shannon Briggs showing up somewhere, somehow, some way. Insane. That's dedication. I got to applaud that. But regardless of which, those are the things that can make this fight happen. Those are the things that can make this fight go in Keyshawn's favor. But those are the things that makes this fight exciting and tangibly investing for a whole bunch of people. Be clear. This fight is not as big as Shakur and Devin Haney. This fight is not as big as Shakur and Devin Haney. This fight is not as big as what that mega fight could be. This fight is not going to be the game-changing fight of, oh my gosh, look at this ripples through the world of boxing. It's not going to be that unless Keyshawn wins. Unless he wins, it's not going to be that type of massive, oh my goodness, effect on the sport. It is a big fight, but it's not the mega fight that people were initially clamoring to see. It's going to take an upset for it to all of a sudden reshape the landscape of boxing. But it's still an incredible fight that's going to answer a whole bunch of questions for the world of Devin Haney specifically. And more so Keyshawn Davis. Because be clear, Keyshawn Davis, he's been egging to get into this type of position for a long time. He's been wanting to get here for a minute. We've called him a budding star. We've called him a young star. We've called him a brother who can go and take over the sport. We've called him a man who has the potential and the makeup to, once he reaches his peak, he can become one of the faces of this sport. Him and Abdullah Mason. Before the whole situation at 135 with him missing weight against De Los Santos and the fight in the hallway in the locker room with Albright, everybody was looking at Keyshawn Davis as more than just the next big thing. We can buy into him as the absolute future for what the American populace in boxing can have as a budding star in the world of combat sports. That everybody is able to not just go and respect, they're going to go and genuinely, I mean just gravitate to him. Big fights left, right, and center. Every fight with him is going to be a sellout. That's what Keyshawn Davis was slated to be. When he lost that position, he's now got to go and climb that road again. This is the exact ladder that he was trying to climb up again to get to this road. If he accomplishes it, now all those dreams come true. If he doesn't, though, we're going to know not just the skill level. We're also going to know, okay, hey, Devin Haney is just a step above everybody. What is it going to take to beat Haney? It's going to be a lot. A lot. Because him beating Keyshawn Davis would still be a great win. Keyshawn Davis is better than Brian Norman Jr. Keyshawn Davis was one of the biggest threats at 140 when he was at 140 with the way that he handled Ortiz. And how he was looking comparative to everybody else in that division, including with Shakur and Teofimo Lopez reigning up there. He was looking like a monster, a killer. And beating Jermaine Ortiz and knocking him out had everybody saying, okay, back like he never left. Gung-ho. We're ready to go. This is what we were all waiting to see. Now he has this chance to make something possible. However, we got to be real. It's only one shot. It's only one shot of this immediate validation. Because if he loses against Devin Haney, even with it being in a higher weight class, it's gonna be it's gonna be something. Because all that talk that he was talking is gonna blow back in his face 2 times over. It's gonna be just a barrage of "I told you so." What did you who did you think you were? Go back to jumping people in the locker room. Terrence Crawford should have never been coming out of your mouth when it came to you saying who you idolize and who you can compare yourself to. We should have never even compared you to anybody. You couldn't tie your shoes, let alone you couldn't tie your friend's shoes in Shakur Stevenson. It's going to be just a wall of vitriol because all that stuff he was talking, all that noise he's going to come back on him 2 times over. That's the risk that he's taking. And this is what he wanted. But that's just the risk he's going to be taking for this fight. Let me keep on reading your chats, though. Like with Von Green here, hopefully Keyshawn beats Haney so we can start trying to unify these 147 belts. I mean, shoot. Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm not against Haney holding the belts because I think he was legitimately wanting and did try to get this fight with Shakur. That's why he was champion at 147. And he was going to reign. And because the Shakur fight became on the table and with the whole Zuffa deal, okay, boom. Yeah, I'd be a fool not to try to take that fight. But I would think he would try to unify after he won that belt if the Zuffa deal didn't come across his desk and the whole Shakur fight was not a possibility. However, if it was Keyshawn Davis that won the belts at 147, yeah, I could see more deliberately that fight would go down to unify. Most likely it would have been, and tell me if I'm wrong, please, but most likely if we didn't get the fight with Devin Haney, Shakur, we expected even before that to get the fight with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. That was the unification fight that everybody said we wanted to see. That was it. That was the one, especially after Mario Barrios got beat by Ryan Garcia. It set the table. It was perfect. It still could be perfect if, in fact, these talks with Ryan Garcia and Ortiz, if they don't come to fruition, and he does stay at 147, he does fight Conor Benn, he does beat Conor Benn, now that sets the gamut. That's it. I don't think there would be any other task not to take or task to take to make that fight not happen. I would think that would have been the initial plan. But if Keyshawn Davis does win the fight, most likely he's not waiting around, and he sure enough ain't waiting around for Shakur. If he did win, I don't think he will, but if he did win, he would then go and say, all right, Ryan Garcia, let's go and make it happen immediately. Because I'm not calling out Shakur. I'm better than Shakur. I'm better than Shakur. That's what's going to happen. I'm not going to call out Shakur. I'm better than Shakur. I got the crack at the whip. Or I got my crack at the up to bat. I won. I beat Devin Haney. He didn't. Ryan didn't beat him clean. Loma couldn't beat him. I did it. I'm the first official loss. I'm number 8 in the world. I'm number 1 in the world. Ain't nobody stopping me. Shakur or anybody else. Ryan Garcia, come get this work. Let's unify and let me go on and get the belts that I already deserve. That's what's good. That's what I can see happen. I'm telling you, that's what I can see happen. I promise you. I promise you. If Keyshawn Davis beats Devin Haney, because he's a mandatory and that can happen, if that did happen, I can almost guarantee you we would see Keyshawn Davis go on a tirade that would essentially all but it would allude to no end and just about outright say, I'm better than Shakur straight up. Give me Ryan Garcia because can't nobody in this division or below me touch me, including Shakur. And I deserve everything because I am everything. I am the end all be all because I beat the man that was supposed to be unbeatable, the untouchable. Mr. Conservative, I turned that man into a deficit. I defeated Devin Haney. You couldn't do that. And if you could have done it, you would have taken the fight. I guarantee you, shots will be thrown directly or indirectly at Shakur Stevenson if we do get this fight with Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. and Keyshawn Davis does somehow pull off the upset and beat Devin Haney, I promise you, it will get ugly so fast, your head will spin. It will go from blood brotherhood to blood feud within the matter of 3 months if that fight did happen and Keyshawn Davis won. I can almost guarantee we would get that fight with Shakur and Devin and Keyshawn Davis before you can say, world champion. Before you can say Rolly Romero sucks, we would get that fight. I'm telling you. Before you could ask, where's Gervonta Davis, we would get that fight. Because it would be such a bad thing for Keyshawn to beat Devin Haney before Shakur. Because Shakur would have no leg to stand on to stop Keyshawn Davis from saying whatever he would want to say that would indeed still be slighted at Shakur, even though it's indirectly, because Shakur would be saying, I'm better than everybody, and would have a right to say, I'm better than everybody. Because that would be a better win than Teofimo Lopez. It would. It would. That Keyshawn Davis beating Devin Haney would be a better win than Shakur beating Teo. Without a doubt. That's not a question. That's not a question. That's not a question. That would be a better win than Teo. Than Keyshawn Davis beating Devin Haney would be better than Teo beating or than Shakur beating Teo. Not because they're both not great fighters, but the position in boxing right now. Devin Haney is solidified, pound for pound, top 10. And the resume is robust. Teofimo Lopez was on some lists top 10, some lists not top 10, and was moving up and down depending on who you asked. Yeah, he was dominant at 140, no question about it. We're not questioning that. But in terms of the perception of Devin Haney right now, people would value this win better than what they would value Teofimo Lopez. I guarantee you. It would give him a platform to say some of the most belligerent stuff that you would never think to say about somebody that's supposed to be your brother. I promise you, because I'm telling you, this is not a game when it comes to pride, legacy, and who runs the world. Because with running the world comes running money. And I guarantee you, Keyshawn Davis wants to be able to say, I run this world, regardless of his brother being in the midst of that crosshair or not. It ain't me trying to pit him against him. That's the truth. We know Keyshawn's personality. We know Keyshawn's demeanor. We know Keyshawn's pride. I promise you. It would be reckless to no end. Oh gosh, it'd be the worst thing in the world, because it would be the beginning of the end of that entire brotherhood. Because I guarantee you, that would directly lead to them having a fight with each other. It would directly lead to it, because Keyshawn couldn't go no higher, or he can maybe go to 154, but he probably wouldn't want to. Shakur Stevenson, people would be saying, now we want to see that fight more than ever. And people would be saying that Shakur is not better than Keyshawn, because look at what Keyshawn did when you didn't take that fight. The public would be against Shakur and wanted to prove that you really are like that by putting him against him. Keyshawn Davis wouldn't say anything against all the adulation because, yeah, I beat him. You didn't. Who am I to say that the public's wrong? Shakur gonna get in his feelings. Shakur gonna be hot. Keyshawn Davis gonna say, well, if you feeling froggy, jump. Make a deal like you were going to make a deal with Devin Haney. Do something with me now. Do something about it. And then everything blows up. And you want to say that you would need $500 million to fight each other? Well, guess what? You could probably, with that type of blood feud, get some level of notoriety and close to it. With that type of build-up of a fight, you doggone right. Everything would line up and make sense to have that fight be a possibility to happen. I guarantee you. I promise you. It's in the cards. It's able to happen. So if Shakur Stevenson does want to keep this brotherhood the way that it is, in my humble opinion, he better take this fight with Devin Haney. that if you give Keyshawn Davis the chance to go and make this happen, and he does not just get the fight, but win the fight, whoo, buddy, you talking about there's a 50-50 chance that brotherhood is over with what's going to come out of Keyshawn Davis' mouth. I guarantee you. I promise you. I promise. But let me keep on reading the rest of your chats. We want to make sure we don't leave people in the dust with conversations. Yo, Teddy Berkshire, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the live. Salute to you. Hopefully you're leaving a like on the stream, and hopefully you're sharing the show. People not understanding how one-sided this Boots beating on me. Well, I hope so. I hope people expect it to be one-sided, and I think it will be. I think it's going to dominate, decimate, destroy, and do everything that we know we can do. I am excited to see it. I just hope it does indeed live up to the expectations of what Boots is supposed to be. Because if not, that can be a problem. Let me see. Burr, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the live stream. Thank you for showing up and showing out. Hopefully, again, you're leaving a like on the stream. One like makes a world of difference. And if you can, please tell people about the show and let people know what we got going on right here. Want to have you all added to the conversation. What's up, Welch? It's hilarious how Shakur put himself in this situation. Yep, he could have been fighting for all the belts at 135 or 140. He just couldn't keep his mouth shut. And it's a shame. He called out everybody. That's the problem. And now he's going silent on everybody. That's what I don't like. And that's what's frustrating. Let me see. When he made Klitschko fall off the paddleboard, that was great. Oh, yeah. You're talking about it turned to Shannon Bridge? Yeah, no, that was hilarious. That looked like something of, what's that show? Curb Your Enthusiasm. That looked like something off of that or The Office. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It was insane. Let me see. I know you don't believe it, Luke, but it will be more one-sided in Ennis's favor. No. Be clear. I do think I am setting the table to get you all excited for what this fight is going to be. Boots versus Zayas is going to be a very good fight. That is not a question in the slightest. Boots versus Zayas is going to be everything of a test that we know Zayas can be for Boots. Boots versus Zayas could still be a one-sided affair. That is also something you want to tune into. Because if it is one-sided, it not just validates everything that we know Boots is, but it also makes the ceiling for what Boots can be even more open to see. Because now the cap that we thought might be a little bit of a test to start to test the elevation of how far his talent can get, it is even more higher up than what we thought, just to cause him to worry. That in and of itself is also incredible to witness. I want to see this, and it could be like we ain't seen nothing yet. Because this could be a little walk in the park. There's a whole real reality. This fight could be a walk in the park for Boots Ennis. It could end in 6. This fight could end in 6 rounds, just like I think with Stanionis. It could end in 6 rounds, without a doubt. There's a real possibility that can happen. And if that does happen, but we're just cracking the surface. We're just cracking the surface of everything that we can see Boots be. And that would be absolutely insane. Let me see. I also got Keyshawn beating Haney 100%. Haney ain't the only one with a solid jab in that fight. Now, see, that's wild. Wow. 100%. 100%. You got Keyshawn Davis beating Devin Haney. If you got him favored, fine. I don't have him favored, but I'm not even picking Devin Haney to win 100%. Keyshawn Davis is without a doubt beating him. Brother, I would love to hear. I would love to hear what got you that confident. I love Keyshawn Davis's jab, but even I know that's not going to be enough just to beat Devin Haney. He can win, sure, no doubt. He can shock us all. It's just that's a lot of confidence. That's a lot of confidence that you got in Keyshawn Davis. I respect it. I would just love to hear as to why. Let me see. We almost had to fight after the De Los Santos whooping. We did, didn't we? I completely forgot. There was a potential opportunity to have that fight after the De Los Santos fight. We know that fight will happen eventually because jealousy and clout is a mess. No, it is. It can be. And this is, we're not trying just to cast, hearsay about, oh, the pride's going to take over for both of them or somebody's going to feel disrespected. We're following the pattern of how they've acted throughout their careers and knowing what can tick both of them off to the point that the friendship becomes secondary to standing your ground and showing what's up. Especially when the money is right. Now it's about just you and me. And they are too close to each other to be in the immediate vicinity. That stuff just can't not happen if things shake the wrong way with how they feel about each other. That's what I'm saying. Andy Cruz versus Albert Bell got announced. It seems like a tough fight. Now, see, I didn't know that. If that just happened, hey, that's good. If that just happened, that's good. If that did just happen, that's good. That is a good fight to see. They also fight for the IBF Eliminator. Looks like Andy Cruz wants a rematch with Murataya, and he can get back there. This is possible because he can get back to that fight. He can get back to that position, and he can get back to making his way to Murataya. I think he can beat Albert Bell. And yes, the stock did drop. I saw somebody say, I think it was Teddy Berkshire, that said the stock has dropped. It has, but it hasn't dropped wildly. Because that fight with Murataya showed Andy Cruz was great, and it's great. Murataya is just better than anybody expected, and he is indeed a dominant fighter. But he won a close fight, a very close fight. I don't think Andy Cruz, we even said that when we watched that fight, Andy Cruz did not lose any respect for him losing to Murataya. He lost no respect at all. Not an ounce of respect got lost to him. I don't think his stock dipped nearly as much. Sure, he's not undefeated anymore. But that, in the grand scheme, at least for the more hardcore fans of boxing, and even the casual fans that just watched that fight, they didn't look at Andy Cruz as just, oh my God, just but an ad. We don't care about her no more. People want to say, there's a lot of people that want to see Andy Cruz come back after that fight, justifiably so. There's a lot of people that want that rematch with Andy Cruz and Murataya because of how good it was the first time. I don't think he lost nearly as much as people as may be expected. And I think this is a road that there's going to be a lot of eyes watching Andy Cruz now going forward in his career. Because they're not just wanting the comeback. They see Andy Cruz, okay, this brother can actually be entertaining. This brother's fun and good. And he can make his way back to the top. He's still one of the best fighters at 135. Regardless of if he got a belt or not, based on what we saw on that performance. It validated it. I think if anything, even in loss. That's why we say every loss is not a bad loss for somebody. You can lose and still come out better after the fight because of what you showed in defeat was something that got everybody to respect. And it did. It really did. Let me see. Beat Skull, how you doing? We appreciate you on the live stream. Please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. If you can support the channel, even still, we got Cash App, PayPal, links in the description, Super Chats, and more. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions. We want to hear your debates and discussions on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond, whether it's stuff with the thumbnail, whether it's stuff with the title, whether it's questions that you have about me or in the show about boxing or anything else. We want to hear from you in regards to everything in the sports world, and we can't wait to have you all along for the ride. Let me see. This is my dream fight card. Shakur versus Foster, Devin versus Keyshawn, Benavidez versus Bivol is an ultimate card to have. Ooh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Shakur versus Foster, Devin versus Keyshawn, and Benavidez versus Bivol is the ultimate fight card, especially with Shakur. That would be, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm really not. I think for the standpoint of getting all four names there works. It really does. It really does. Now, I think, is there a better fight that we could get for Keyshawn Davis? What I would like to do, me personally, My dream card, my dream card would be, I would substitute, which one would I say? I would substitute Foster versus Shakur. I would make that Foster versus Neverete. Shakur versus Devin Haney. Keyshawn Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Benavidez Bivol. That would be mine. Because that would not just be a great matchups. That would set up fights in the future afterwards, depending on the victory. That's how I would make that card. Because I would have it so that Keyshawn Davis, Neverete and Foster fight to unify the titles, best at 130. Absolutely. Whatever that can go and challenge either, honestly, anybody at 135, if they so chose, and get a great fight at it. Or, if Foster won, still go after Shakur at 140 with even more reputation. Devin Haney versus, who did I say? Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia? No, Devin Haney versus Shakur, because that's a fight we already wanted to see. It would be great. It would be cool. And it'd be something that has already been publicized. And what that could set up, if Shakur won, he could go back down to 140 and fight against O'Shaquie Foster. If Devin Haney won, then he could fight the winner of Ryan Garcia versus Keyshawn Davis. And if Ryan Garcia won that fight with Keyshawn Davis, now it sets up, finally, we get to make a fight that we all been waiting for the past almost 3 years. And if Keyshawn Davis wins against Ryan Garcia, well, then we still get Keyshawn Davis versus Devin Haney. Boom. It's still a fight that people have been saying now they want to have, and it's been built up already. And then ending with Benavidez versus Bivol, because that's the fight that already, hey, we want to see that. We want to see if he's as good as we think he is. Coming off his victory against Zerto, he beats Bivol. Boom. Validates everything that we thought about him. That's what I would do. Again, that's me. That's me. Yeah, but as a promoter, that's me. Keyshawn is the truth. Have you seen leaked sparring footage with him and Shakur? I have not. He was beating him up. I believe Keyshawn has the talent to be the best. It's if they give him his shot. Let me see. Can I find that footage? Let me see if I can find that footage. Real quick. And it might be, it's leaked. Is it leaked? Is it leaked? I haven't seen the leaked footage. In fact, it might be the first time I've been hearing about leaked footage with them. If I can find it while I'm on the show, I will definitely. Go. Dang it, that ain't it. Hold on. We're trying to do some live reporting. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find this footage. Because I would love to see it happen. I did see, now if I can't find the footage, I know I did see Keyshawn Davis allude to. Is this the one? Nope, that ain't it. No. Hold on. I ain't about to get copyright stricken. That's not the clip. But I did see a clip. I can't find it, but I know I saw a clip of Keyshawn Davis alluding to something happened in sparring when he did fight against Shakur, as he was trying to build up promos that he was taking on Devin Haney and others, or y'all pay me enough, I'll go and spar Shakur. I went and did, and then he stopped and just laughed and walked away. I don't know if that was real in terms of him actually trying to allude to something, or if that's just him being funny, trying to play with the crowd, and because people want to go and get antsy about that whole fight. I don't know which is true, but I do know there is a clip out there of him alluding to something involving sparring. I can't find the clip right now of the actual footage, but Keyshawn Davis did allude to something happened between them when they were fighting against each other in sparring. I do know that. Does that fight really make sense in terms of Shakur versus Foster? Well, yes, it does, because they got history in sparring. Shakur and Foster got history in sparring together because Foster got the better of Shakur in sparring. That, even by Shakur's own metrics, was true. But that's also because Shakur had said that he was with this girl. He was not in shape. He was, at that point in time, I think it's something about him not being in the gym for some sort of reason. like as he was getting ready for his fights. It was like the first time back, similar to the story of what we had seen when somebody got the better of Tank in sparring, and then the next time Tank came back, Tank was in shape and he beat the brakes off of whoever the world it was. I can't remember who, but similar to that story, that's what happened with Shakur and Foster. But Foster has been holding on to that story that, yeah, I beat Shakur out the gym. That's what he kept saying. So because of that, and because Foster beat Ford, Shakur's protege and also friend, this is a feud that's been building up individually and by proxy because of him beating Raymond Ford. So that's a fight that does make sense to happen from a storytelling standpoint. From the bigger impact, there's bigger fights that are more impactful. But personal feud, yeah, there's something there. Why are you trying to save Devin from Keyshawn? I'm not. Be clear, I'm not. I'm trying to make the best card from the standpoint of what I prioritized in fighting more than anything. Those are the fights I said I wanted to see if I can make a perfect card. Be clear, I ain't saving Devin Haney from nothing. I think Keyshawn Davis is going to lose to Devin Haney if they fought against each other. I ain't saving that brother from nothing because I think he's going to lose if he ever fights him. Be clear. Let's be clear right now. Let's be clear right now. Let's be clear right now. I am saying wholeheartedly today, Devin Haney beats Keyshawn Davis if they fight against each other. I say that today. And the more, if that fight gets confirmed, we can discuss the why. We can discuss all of the breaking down of the footage. We can discuss all of that in breaking down the fight. I'm just telling you, that's my position. But I ain't saving that brother from squat. Because I'm thinking he's going to win. But I would not be mad at seeing that fight. I just know there are other fights that I would be more inclined to see. If I could make a card personally, that's just me. Let me see. The business move for Jay Prince is to have Shakur champion at 140 and Keyshawn at 147. Maybe so. If so, that's not what I want to see. Even if that's true, that's not what I want to see. Let's keep it a beat. I respect Jay Prince for trying to make that move. I want both of them reigning in the same division so they're forced to fight each other without any remorse. They gotta find out who's better. I want them in the same place at the same time because I want both of them having a title. Straight up. And being they gotta get in the ring with each other. That's my dream. I get what Prince is trying to do. That ain't what I want. If I'm picking, that ain't what I want. Let me see. Foster fights at 130. Shakur fights at 140. That fight is straight up diabolical, especially seeing the face-off between them and Shock. Shocky is a small dude. Now, see, I'm not saying you're not wrong. It is a 10-pound weight jump. I do. But also, it was Shock that said, I'll come up to fight you at 140. Again, the gauntlet got thrown down by O'Shaquie Foster. O'Shaquie Foster has been calling out Shakur Stevenson for longer than just one fight. This has been like a couple years of, I can take this brother out. I'm telling you, I've been in the ring with him. I know I can beat him. This isn't just a new thing. Even if the weight discrepancy is different, Shock is saying this is easy. I can get to 140 without a doubt. If you think that's going to be a problem, that's perfectly fine. I'm not denying that it can potentially be a big difference. I'm simply saying this is a fight that Shock has been the one leading the charge. I want to make happen. And I know this ain't going to be nothing. So for him, it's like, hey, it's whatever. It's sunshine and roses. That's why, even though it seems insane, for O'Shaquie Foster, y'all ain't asking too much of him in his own eyes. Because he thinks this is exactly what I want. Exactly what I want. Let me see. The link to the footy. Hold on. Where's it at? Where's it? Unless I'm tripping. Where's it? Can I get the link? Is the link up here? It's up. It's up here. It is not up. Dang, I thought it was up here. Shoot, I thought I had the link. Never mind. If I can find it, I will go and see it. Shakur and Foster is no more diabolical than Haney and Shakur. Ah. Ah. Hey now. Hey now. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You might be onto something there. You might be on. I didn't look at it that way. If you think that Keyshawn Davis beat, you might be right. Beats, you might be right. Shakur Stevenson and O'Shaquie Foster is no more diabolical than Devin Haney and Shakur. Yeah. Devin Haney and Shakur 140, 147. That's a major jump. That is a massive jump. That's 7 pounds. With knowing that we know what Devin Haney can get up to. Shakur Stevenson versus Shakur Foster, that's a 10-pound difference. Knowing what Shakur can get up to. This is not that much. If we're entertaining Devin Haney and Shakur and Foster, it ain't that much. Keyshawn Davis started at 135, and now he's up to 147. And we would initially say, my gosh, on paper that looks insane, but also knowing the fighters, okay, it might be doable. It's still a major weight jump. It's more than a weight jump from where Shakur Stevenson naturally started, but it's happening. So that's not a bad way to look at this, because it's not as unfeasible. It's not as unfeasible. And again, this is the difference here. This is not us trying to pin a fight on somebody that hasn't said they want to step up in competition in this type of way. This is not like. Let me get my words together. This is not like Inoue versus Tank, when people were saying we want to see Tank and Inoue at 135 or 130. When Inoue hadn't even sniffed 122 yet and had made no qualms or no noise saying 130 is even a possibility for him. And the fans were putting that fight on the person to say we want to make stuff shake. This is the fighters saying, I want to go up here and make a fight happen. That's a different dynamic. Even if we think that it's something, that is oh so monumental of a task to jump, which it is. The fighters are the one that's calling for this stuff to happen. That changes everything. That changes the entire makeup of, is this really not feasible? We can say that it's going to be preposterous to actually make happen. But the fighter himself actually is, this is the type of risk I want. So I can't hold that against him. So it's possible. It absolutely is indeed possible. But I think I'm trying to make sure that I can find this. I'm still looking for this footage of Keyshawn Davis sparring. It's got to be here. Look, wait, is this it? Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a minute, is it? I think this is it. This might be it. Let me see. I think this is it. I think I found the footage. I could be wrong. I think this is the footage right here. Keyshawn Davis putting hands on Shakur Stevenson and leaked sparring clip from is this the was it over 99 overall? I've seen this brother on so many social media platforms talking about boxing. I don't know how he got this footage. I think this is the footage though. I think, if I'm wrong, please don't disrespect me. I'm trying to give you all the best I can. I think this is the footage though of these two. Let me make sure you all can see it on screen. Okay, yeah, you can. Okay. So this is the one. I can see it in the chat. This is the one. So let me look at it right now. Let's take a look at it. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Real quick, let me make sure ain't no okay, good. Ain't no copyrighted music. So we good to go. I'm gonna let this play in full. And we can have our reactions to what this footage looks like of what a fight could potentially be with Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney going at it against each other in real time. This is older footage. I don't know when exactly this got taken, but this is, I believe, Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney fighting against each other. From the looks of it, Keyshawn Davis is in the black gloves and is the darker skinned brother, and Devin Haney is the lighter skinned brother in the red gear or red headgear with the shirt. My gosh. So that was the footage. That was the footage. Straight up, that's the footage. Now, again, I don't know when this was taken. I don't know how long ago this was. So I can't say for certain this is absolutely recent or this is something that is just old back in the day, way back in the day, and now they're completely different fighters from now. I can't say that for certain. What I can say, though, off of this footage, yeah, Keyshawn Davis do somebody good work. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He was doing somebody good work. Off of that. With that being said, though, we also understand what sparring is. You're getting ready, you're training certain things, you're trying certain things. You're not trying to, you don't want to, ideally, hurt the other person. And you're working on fine-tuning certain elements. Even still, just like with Benavidez, there are things you can take from sparring that can equate to success in the actual fight. There are. And what I can take away from this, I'm not saying that this is indeed the end-all be-all of what exactly we're going to see on that night if we do see them fight. I'm not saying this is what we're going to witness when we actually see, as I'll play the footage right now while I'm talking. But I'm not saying this is what we're going to see on the day if we do see it happen. What I can say, though, is that the success that we didn't see Brian Norman have on the ropes, we're seeing Keyshawn Davis have on these ropes right here. The one thing that we have said about Devin Haney is if you can work when his back does get to a point that he needs to exit out and you can keep him there and land without smothering your own work, and don't let the clinching affect your ability to lose control and keep him where you want him to be. That physicality aspect of the game that can shift the dynamic of what this fight can turn into in your favor. That has always been something. I've clearly said if somebody can do that, like we saw Ryan Garcia, it can affect him. And though this is sparring, that has shown it did have some effect on the likes when going up against Keyshawn Davis. It did. I can say that. Devin Haney's better than what he was since this. Devin Haney's better than what he was since this sparring, though I don't know how long ago this was. However, this is what I've been wanting people to do against Devin Haney to have success. Bully the bully. When it comes to when he's trying to stop your momentum, fight yourself free. And this type of work, if Keyshawn Davis is able to do this, that could bring a whole new wrinkle to the story of what this fight could turn into ultimately when we're looking at Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. It can't. It really can't. Let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions. If If Keyshawn knock out Devin with that left hook, that means Ryan's left hook wasn't a fluke, and Bill knows Devin is chinny. I mean, yeah. I mean, Ryan Garcia's left hook wasn't a fluke ever. It's never been a fluke. The left hook, that's been the aspect of his game. Devin Haney's been chinny before fighting against Ryan Garcia. He got hurt against what was it? Was it Jojo Diaz? Not Jose Ramirez. I think it was Jorge Linares. That's what I was thinking of. Early in his career, he got caught and wobbled by Jorge Linares. He's been rocked before. It's not a. He has a lot. I've said this before. Devin Haney has a lot of heart. Devin Haney is not durable. Devin Haney has a whole bunch of heart to his game, but Devin Haney is not a durable fighter that is going to. Oh my gosh, you can't touch him. He will always get up, but he's not somebody just going to completely take you out. Or he's not somebody, oh yeah, if you catch him clean, oh, he's just going to be like a rock. No. He's got heart that you can't keep him down, but you can put him down. You can get him down. Keeping him down is the hard part. So I don't think that this is a situation where, oh, if Keyshawn can do it, it shows that Ryan was always, his thing is actually real. No, it's always been real. It's just the fact that it works. It works against him. Now, Devin Haney, since this footage, I believe this is older footage, since the fight with Ryan Garcia, he's done stuff to fix said holes to not get caught nearly as much with that same shot. But still, he is vulnerable. That is undeniable. He is indeed vulnerable in that regard. As I'm still reading, sparring is meant to be fine-tuning and not go all out. It's not a reliable measuring stick for fighting outcomes. And again, I agree. Be clear. Like I said before, I'm not using this as a footage to show you, look, see, Keyshawn Davis, he's going to knock out Devin Haney. Look at this. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Thumbnails and all. I'm not doing that. But I'm just showing you there are certain things that worked here that I've said need to work against Devin Haney in order for something to change for any opponent that is going up against Devin Haney. Because Keyshawn Davis was able to do this, even though it is sparring in here, similar to what we saw with Zerto and Benavidez, this one aspect in sparring can affect the potential actual outcome of the fight. If he's able to do this in a live fight situation against a fully healthy, fully game Devin Haney. But there is something that you can't take away from. It's not the end all be all, and it sure enough ain't the story of the fight. But it is an asset that we can pull from and say there is value in what we saw with this type of success. I can at least say that. I think that's fair. Let me see. Shakur is already highly rated, though you can't take anything away from Shakur, but it shows you the competition Keyshawn can go up against. That's fair as well. Absolutely. Maturing and realizing Ryan can fight, only thing you can give him is full credit for fighting competition. Yeah, that speaks for itself. That speaks for itself, absolutely. Bill called it do the Devin Haney, a.k.a. hold all night. I mean, look, doing the Devin Haney is supposed to be you're taking on a lot of tests and challenges and answering the call when it comes your way. That's what's supposed to be the moniker when somebody says do the Devin Haney. I think, crazy enough, I think that was something that Showbiz the Adult started as a phrase, but it caught on. I think. Don't quote me. I'm just saying I think. But either way, regardless of where it came from, that's the moniker of doing the Devin Haney. Galvanizing yourself to continue to take on the top test, the legacy first. Because while everybody else, Tank and others, Tank, Ryan, T.O., all that sect of competition was going out their career, Devin Haney, accolades-wise, was able to set himself apart going into enemy territories, becoming undisputed, taking on top 10, top 5 caliber names in his division, taking on huge tests and challenges without any discussion. He was moving like we wanted every other champion to move. That is what that type of career direction is what the public wants to see. Now, yes, he does hold on tight. I will say that. He does clinch the kingdom come. I will say that. He does go through and outright hold on for dear life after a certain point in the fight because he wants to keep the lead. I don't like that. That's also doing to Devin Haney. I can attest to that. That's bad. That's bad. I hate that. I hate it, but it's the truth. It's what happens. It's what happens. It's what happens, sadly, when it comes to Devin Haney and his fighting style. But that is not an indictment on the career that we've seen Devin Haney have, which is fair. That is great. It's fair to say that it's a great, phenomenal, and matured career. Also, please, if you can, leave a like on the stream. We're actually over we are over the 3-hour mark. Crazy enough, we're gonna have to actually end this show soon. We're fine with going over. I ain't trying to go 4 hours though, unless y'all want to give some moolah. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go 4 hours today. But we still want to hear from you in all regards of boxing and beyond. And please, the more you like the stream, the more it brings people in on this show, because it shows the algorithm we got people that want to see and listen to what we got going on. So please, if you can, hit the like on the video and leave a like on the stream. I think the most likes we've had is about 30. Or no, 22. If we can beat that record, I would love it. I would appreciate it so much. But let me keep on reading your chats and responses. That Debo Haney stuff is all up front when it comes to 154. His name will be Devin Haney. All that Debo stuff is out the window. That's fine. If it's at 154, yeah. I don't expect that power to translate the same up to 154. But because we're not at 154, that's why this does apply. Now, I'm not calling him Debo Dev because that power, it is there. That is undeniable. But he's not running through people because he still doesn't have the mentality to be the Debo that not just walks people down, but hurts you and puts you out. He still is fighting in the way that moniker can't walk line to line with his actual style. That persona doesn't match up with the actual man. It can come out because he can punch. He is one of the most physically imposing fighters at 147, without a doubt. He can get up to 154 in this division and be able to dominate physically most people. That does not change the fact that for me to call him Debo Dev, and it's just going to have to be, he can land a shot. I need to see him have an urgency to be able to finish the show once he gets somebody there that they're ready to go. When he gets that, I can call him that more fervently. But right now, I can't do it. Right now, I can't. Let me see. Can you imagine Devin in the ring with the? Oh gosh, see, no, stop, please. We're not entertaining. We're not entertaining 160. We're not entertaining 160. Please, let's not play that game. Devin Haney versus Adames. If we're going to do that, Devin Haney versus Shiraz. Devin Haney versus Canelo. Devin Haney versus Christian and Billy. I do not think we should play that game when it comes to Devin Haney. Let's stick with what's feasible, which is 147 and below. 154, not yet. But it's more feasible than anything. But 160, I'm not even going to try to entertain that because I know. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. 154. You're right. You're right. I'm thinking of Carlos Adames, not Brandon Adams. Dang it. I'm sorry. I saw Adams and I immediately went to Adames. I immediately went to thinking about Carlos Adames. I'm so sorry. That's a mulligan on my end. I apologize. That's me. That's absolutely me. I'm so sorry. Brandon Adams. Brandon Adams. Yes. Not Carlos Adames. Okay. That's a lot more fair. It's still a lofty goal. Devin Haney going up to 154, even though it's one weight class away. I don't think it's gonna move up just yet. But that's more feasible. That's more believable. I would like to see that take place. It would still be dangerous, especially because of what he did to Boachuk, knocking him out and also being able to outbox him. That would be a tough physical challenge to face off against. At 154, all that stuff about Haney physically goes out the window. Automatically, he loses that physical, imposing nature if he goes up to 154. Off rip. That goes away most likely. With Ortiz, Fundor, Boots Ennis, Adams, all of them, it goes away. Even Majimov. That physical advantage, that's out the window. At 154, that's completely out the window. Out the window entirely. Entirely. That's going to be, if he ever does get up there, that's going to be very interesting to see what he can pan out to be. But right now at 154, I don't even want to think about that. Even though it's more feasible than what I thought we were talking about at 160. Because at 154, you're going to have a time and a half being able to clinch and work like you want to at that division. When you have almost no chance of being able to hold on and stall out when you try to get close with somebody and they're able to muscle their way through and land on you. They can do what Lomachenko was able to do to the body against you, but a whole lot easier because of they're able to muscle you where they want to be and be able to hurt you. It can be bad. It can get bad. Let me see. Xander and Haney have the same style. That's only competition that he can compete with. Wait, hold on. Xander and Haney have the same style. That's only competition he can compete with at 154. Dude, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if I agree with that. Xander Zayas and Devin Haney have the same style. That's the only competition he can compete with at 154. Oh, you're talking about Xander as an opponent for Devin Haney. I think that's the only competition that we could see him actually be able to compete with. Would be somebody that's akin to him. That stylist and makeup. Outside of that, nobody else that Devin Haney fights at 147, he will be able to compete in your mind. I think I see what you're saying. I don't know if that's true, that Xander fights like Haney. I don't know about that. I'll look at some film. I don't know about that. But in terms of the competition aspect, that might be the quote unquote easiest of the current champions outside of, again, Kelly. That might be the easiest notable name that we could see him face off against. Outside of that, yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough. Let me see. You're right. They built the same way though. Devin not beating nobody in the top 10 at 154. Pull up the names. I mean, like, let's actually do this. Where is it? Let's actually do a little bit of sleuthing, shall we? Let's look up the names at 154. What would that be like? As we are here, let me go through and see what's going down. At 154, I'm pulling up names. Hold on. Here we go. At 154, it would be. Where's the screen? There we go. Okay. So 154. If we were talking about who in the world he could fight and he could beat, if Devin Haney ever went up, to 154, it would be Sebastian Fundora, Virgil Ortiz, Xander Zayas, Josh Kelly, Brandon Adams, Majimov, Boots Ennis, Barrow or Maul. I think it's Hadrabi, and then Bakram Murtazali, who again lost to Josh Kelly, who currently is one of the 4 champions in the world of boxing right now. These would be the 10 that Devin Haney, if he ever moved up to 154, would be able to fight against and would be facing off against. Outright, straight up. I'll go through it again, naming Fundora, Ortiz, Zayas, Kelly, Adams, Majimov, Ennis, Barrow, Hadrabi, and Murtazali, Bakram Murtazali. Abbas, I think he's good enough to beat. Majimov, I would be highly interested in seeing how Devin Haney would beat him. That's a fight. That might be a struggle. That might be a struggle, Majimov. Adams could be a problem. Josh Kelly, being able to box and move, and again, knock down Bakram, would add a level of concern and sweet feet that now Haney would have to deal with. That potentially also he would be bigger than him. That would be interesting. Zayas, we really gonna see what that fight might look like if we see the likes of Xander look good against Boots. It could be the people say, okay, yeah, he would beat Devin Haney if he came out to 147. Ortiz, most people would say that Haney would lose to Ortiz. Fundora, right now, most people would say he might lose to Fundora because he would have to be the aggressor against. He would have to be the one to come in against Fundora. And he's a guy that always wants to back up, but there's nowhere to back up to if you fight against Sebastian Fundora. That, I wouldn't be surprised if people said he would lose to Fundora. Boots Ennis, everybody most likely would say, if he came up to 154, Devin Haney, especially if Boots Ennis looked good against Zayas, most people would most likely pick Devin Haney to get knocked out by Boots Ennis. Most. I can almost assure most would pick that. So, it's not many names. But there's some that I could see, yeah, he'll be able to do. There are some. I think that's fair to say that there are some that people would have a fair assessment of. He wouldn't be bottom of the barrel, but it would definitely be a fight that would have people really looking and questioning whether or not, he would be as dominant as we've seen in the past when it comes to Devin Haney if he moves up to 154. Let me see. We can at least say that they both clinch. I can see that. That I can agree with that. I'm not against that. They do both clinch. They don't fight the same, but they do clinch more than I would like. I can get down with that. Absolutely. Devin can beat Josh Kelly, Abbas, Xander, anyone other than that. Nah, in your opinion. That's fair. That's fair. That's gonna be, man. I feel like I want to say that I think he can beat more people, but the way he fights up here, it's gonna be so much more difficult. His speed would have to be the thing that wins the day. His speed would have to be still just as effective as it is at 147, and at 140. The snappiness, upset jab, because it's even with him being able to balloon up after getting to 154, it's still going to be difficult. It's still going to be difficult dealing with these types of people, especially with the height. That's all power right there. It is. It's nothing but a division of punchers. Everybody can do what Ryan Garcia did and got the reach. It's going to be tough. Let me see. Bakram is still a problem. I don't think Haney beats him. Now, see, Bakram, I think if Kelly can beat Bakram, Devin Haney can beat Bakram. If Kelly being able to move, jab, and get out the way and do all that stuff, Kelly can beat him. If Kelly did beat him, Devin Haney, I have no qualms in saying he could beat him. I have no qualm saying he could beat Bakram and outbox him. Now, if he got caught against Bakram, good night. It's over. He's not recovering. I don't think he's recovering in the way that we saw the likes of Kelly get up and be able to do. I don't. And I just said that he's got heart. I just said that he will always get up. But if Bakram catches you like that, he's finishing that job. He's finishing that job. He's finishing that. I don't think if he got caught against anybody up here, he's not. No, sir. No, sir. That ain't happening. If he got caught, he's unlike Kelly. I don't think he's surviving. He's gonna get put down. Because Bakram ain't gonna get tired trying to finish you. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. And if you try to clinch against Bakram while wobbly, oh yeah, he gonna mess you up. He gonna mess you up. But I think he can beat Bakram, being able to box with the technicality that he is. He just can't afford to get caught against anybody. He legit cannot afford to take a punch from anybody up here. If he does, oh, it's going to be a nightmare to witness and see. I promise you that. I promise you. Let me see. Devin can probably beat, Von Greenhill. Devin can probably beat Errol Spence now. Maybe depending on how Errol Spence is. Yeah, that's not unfair to say. Only because we're talking about top 10. We're talking about the top 10 in the division. Spence, Charlo, Sue, Thurman. We're not discussing them because they're not at this point relevant, and or they're not proven yet to have the ability to say, with us knowing what they are now, we can say he can beat them or not beat them. There's an unknown. Errol Spence could come out and all of a sudden look like as dominant as he was at 147. Now that's a whole different landscape. Okay, Devin Haney, you might not be able to beat that. Or it could be like, okay, he definitely has lost a step. Devin Haney can absolutely beat you. Charlo, same thing. Same exact thing. I can't bring up those names because they're unknown. As of right now, they're unknown. Thurman, we saw what he was able to do against somebody. Yeah, sure, it's an anomaly in the likes of Fondor. Doesn't change the fact that, Thurman most likely he ain't beating him. Skill for skill at this stage in their career, Thurman's not beating Devin Haney. I don't think so. I don't think so. At this stage right now. So I can't use them. But everybody else, that's what we can hang our hats on. The more proven fighters that are in that top 10. That's where Haney would be if he moved up to this division. He would be in that conversation immediately. That's what we'd have to put him up against. A potential title opportunity might be even in the most immediate active ability for him to garner. It's for real, especially knowing how he likes to move in the world of boxing. So that's why these names are the ones that we got to talk and discuss, because these could be the ones that he could be fighting immediately. Let me see, you're describing Devin Haney as a killer. I'm not describing him as a killer. I'm saying the way we know he fights, you may not like it, but it's hard to beat. And he is deserving of pound for pound top 10. Because of that, his skills is one of the best in the world. Raw talent and raw ability. We can say it is worth its. He has done it against people that we said he wouldn't be able to work. So we got to give him that respect of, I'm not calling him a boogeyman. I'm not saying he's going to mop the floor with everybody under the sun, but there are people he can beat up here. It is the truth. And who could beat him? It's not just going to be easy. Oh, they're going to win every round. They're going to knock him out, and it's going to be light work, and he won't be able to do anything. It ain't going to be that. We know that because this is Devin Haney that we're talking about. So I'm trying to give him the respect that I think he does deserve. Let me see. Devin can beat Tim Tszyu as well. Yes, he can, without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's not even a question. Yeah, he can beat Tim Tszyu. He can definitely beat Tim Tszyu. Flat-footed, very much somebody who we've seen defensively has a whole bunch of holes and slow to really catch you and takes his time a lot. Sure, in the clinch, he can fight out and do some real damage. Devin Haney will just do what he did against Jose Ramirez. If he finds out his speed is just so much more that you can't do anything with, I'll just jab you to oblivion and win easy by just staying away. Most likely. Most likely. So I don't think we're trying. I'm not giving Devin Haney too much respect. Trust me, I'm not. Well, I'm not trying to anyway. I'm simply saying that Devin Haney, with what we know him as, he is good enough that there is people he can beat up here in the top 10 at this division of 154. And even people that we know he can lose to, it would be harder because of the conservative style that Haney likes to fight in. He is indeed a masterful boxer when he does fight like a true Devin Haney. So even that we know it's hard to beat, full stop. That jab alone has carried him to this framework in boxing. Many people ain't got a jab that can do that, but he does. And his feet are good. Great, even elite. And because he knows how to use that, he doesn't fight outside of himself. Yeah, he can be beaten up here. It's just gonna be difficult. Let me see how you feel about Giannis going to Boston. Has it happened? Wait a minute. Ho. Let me hold on. Let me check something. Did that happen? Don't tell me that happened. Did that happen while we were here? Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, thank gosh. Oh, thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. Oh, I thought that news broke. I thought that was confirmed. Woo! I was about to lose my mind. I don't want Giannis to go to Boston. I don't want Giannis anywhere near Boston. I don't want Boston getting anywhere better than what they are right now. I'm sorry. I missed the possibly. I missed you saying possibly, my bad. But I don't want him going anywhere near Boston. Now that we're in the NBA, I don't want him going anywhere near Boston. Boston's already as stacked as it needs to be. They can go and be a contender right now. The only reason why they weren't as much of a contender this year, though they were still great, was because Jason Tatum was injured for the majority of the year and was coming back from a Achilles tear. And so next year he should be fully healthy coming back into the fray. If they do give up somebody, it would have to be Jaylen Brown, which is fair. I'm giving up Jaylen Brown if it means getting Giannis. But also a couple of other pieces the Bucks are going to want to ask for Giannis as well. That now you break up the whole of what this team can be for Boston from a top to bottom perspective. You could have to trade away a Peyton Pritchard. You could have to trade away a Derek White. You don't want to necessarily give that up. You could even have to trade away a Kristaps Porzingis. Because the Bucks are going to want some assets. Because that's a full rebuild mode. If they go and get the likes of, if they go and get Giannis and leave that hole to be filled by just Jaylen Brown as the best all-star on that team. And he is an all-star, but him as a number one option on that roster that the Bucks would have, no, they ain't going nowhere. They're not going anywhere. They ain't going nowhere this year. Before Giannis got hurt, they didn't go nowhere. They weren't going anywhere. You're going to gut that team trying to get Giannis over there. It's possible. I would assume it would have to be with a multi-team trade, unless it's a whole bunch of draft picks that they just give up. Oh, I mean, I'm talking about the future of the Celtics in the draft is all gone or relatively deeply impacted. That's the only way. I don't think he's going to go to Boston. He might say he wants to still be a Buck, but there's definitely going to be some places that he's going to want to go, that he wants to be with a contender. And right now, they tried to make it work with Dame. Dame got injured. That's not necessarily his fault. But that tenure, it ain't work out. And since then, he's been flip-flopping back and forth. I want to trade. I want to leave. I'm coming back. I want to trade again. He wants to go to where he can win. And what they're going to demand is going to be a lot. The ultimate fear more than anything is he goes down to OKC. Because we can say it's not possible. Oklahoma City has enough draft picks to trade the world away and still be a contender for the next 5 years. They can trade away 10 picks and still have 10 first-round picks. I want you all to understand that. And with how Chet Holmgren played in this conference finals against Wembanyama, you better believe if there's any piece that can make a change, that's the one. They're probably looking to get Chet out of there if any way possible. And they got the picks to do it. If they want to say, here, we'll give you half our future, because we still got a whole 5 years of future that we can still have with any of these first-round picks, we'll give that Chet and potentially Caruso or Lou Dort. Lou Dort specifically. Go on, take him. Now you can rebuild, you can have a future, and you got all these assets that you can have to draft with and or trade. Here you go, give us Giannis. That's our second max player. SGA, Giannis, and whoever else we want. Boom, we good. And we got them locked up, so like we all right. I'm telling you. That's the biggest fear. But if he goes to Boston, I know it's been the forefront. I know Brian Windhorst said it's a something to look out for, and it is. I would just be surprised because of what Boston would have to give up. I don't know if they want to give up that potential to have the depth that they have right now. Sacrifice for, Tatum, Giannis together, but for potentially how long? Especially as Giannis is past 30 years old. So it would be interesting. Let me see. I think he would be good in Minnesota with Anthony Edwards. If they trade away Julius Randle. No, they trade away Julius Randle. Maybe trade away the likes of Rudy Gobert and Giannis would be a nasty tandem. It'd be a defensive stonewall. Offensively, though, in this current NBA, two bigs, one of them who isn't really that great as an offensive option. He started to be better this year, but two dominant paint options that can't really shoot with Anthony Edwards, that might be difficult unless you have it to where Rudy comes off the bench, Giannis stays and plays as the starting center, and then Rudy comes off the bench and plays, and then they just flip-flop minutes. It might have to be that you might have to trade Rudy Gobert. It might have to be that you have to trade Rudy Gobert to get that level of start. Now, it's worth it, but you might have to. Do they want to part ways with that? And Julius Randle, I think, would be one of the main people that they would say, okay, let's get him gone. For Giannis, sure. But then who else? Maybe Jaden McDaniels. Yeah, that sounds lofty because that's one of the best defensive players that they got. And well, actually, hold on. Before I even continue, is McDaniels still on that team? Let me check. Let me look. Let me make sure. Let me look at their roster real quick to make sure I'm not thinking of previous stuff. Because currently who they got right now is Anthony Edwards. Yeah, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Io DeSumo, Mike Conley, Terrence Shannon Jr., Bones Highland, Dante DiVincenzo, who's out and injured, and then Kyle Anderson as the most notable names on this roster. I'm not going to lie. They might trade away Dante DiVincenzo in whatever package they give up. Not just because he got injured, but because he is still a valuable asset for a lot of teams. He is. He still is somebody that teams will take a chance on. And would fill out that depth of field of personnel that you might be giving up if you are giving up a star. To help expedite your ability to be able to rebuild quicker or bolster your roster quicker. So it could be any combination of Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, or DiVincenzo, Terrence Shannon, couple draft picks. You might even have to give up, they don't want to give up Naz Reid, but he will be on the table of conversation. Who could you get after you signed with them to make stuff shake? If you're the Bucks and you trade away with Minnesota, there are pieces. It is feasible. It is definitely doable. They got more options than I expected. They could package together, make a trade with the likes of the Bucks, and actually the Bucks would take it. It's just you don't want it to backfire. And you don't want it to be that you're too far out of the window of a win now. Because after getting those two, like it's going to be, especially with Giannis being about 32 years old, you got about potentially 2 to 3 years of still the best of Giannis without another major injury completely taking over or taking the last of his prime away. How do you make sure you're still in contention for a championship? And can you still sign people after getting Giannis to make it so that your roster is fully equipped to take on anybody that you want? I could see it. And I wouldn't be mad at it if it did happen. It would just be, making it work it could be a task, but a worthwhile one. It could be a task, but a worthwhile one for both parties involved. So I could see the Timberwolves absolutely if they got it done. I definitely could. But even still, we want to make sure we don't go over the 4-hour mark. We're about at 3 hours and 30 minutes. Is there anything else anybody wants to say in regards to talking about the show today? Again, it's the last call. It's the last call for the world of the Welch Report, talking about the world of boxing and beyond with whatever you want to discuss. We want to hear from you on anything involving the world of boxing and the sports landscape as a whole. It's the last call to hear what you got to say on today. See what Anthony Edwards Giannis would have, or see what Anthony Edwards Giannis would have more support. I mean, yeah, Giannis would definitely have a better supporting cast than he would against the Bucks. And he would fit with the Timberwolves as a 1-2 punch with Anthony Edwards. Add to that defensive ability to be not just a rim protector, but on the perimeter, be dominant. Mind you, Giannis had multiple years of 30, 10, and 5. Consistently a top 3 to top 5 MVP caliber player. He would, if it wasn't for the historic numbers that we've seen from Jokic and SGA over the past 3 years, Giannis would be finishing either second or outright winning in the MVP votes. He's like that. I would love to see what that dynamic would bring with both of them together. It would be great. But if they work together as a tandem, that would be insane to witness. How do you feel about the WBO president saying on Cigar Talk about the Keyshawn Davis mandate? I think we talked about this earlier in the show when we played the clip, but I'll reference it now. It makes sense to me. I'm glad that it's mandated so we can actually get stuff shaking. And it's a fight that, in all reality, people are not opposed to. Now, I'm happy he's taking initiative to say, hey, at this point in time, publicly, he came out and said, this fight is too far within the pending phase of mandatories. That fight with Shakur, we can't entertain that feasibly without making Devin Haney have to make a decision. Get this belt, make this fight or get stripped. We want that to happen. Not because we don't want Devin Haney to be able to make a decision on his career, but also this division, we don't want it stagnated because we're waiting around too long to see what Shakur and Haney can do. We don't want that. Even though we would like this fight to happen, we don't want stagnation in the division. So, yeah, it's great that we're making this fight. It's great that we're making this attempt. It's great that we're having this as a opportunity to force the hand that controls the division to make a decision one way or another. And at this point, make the fight or get stripped. And it also helps to make the decision process for Devin Haney a lot easier. Because Devin Haney wanted to fight Shakur and Keyshawn. Shakur has not said a lick about anything after getting pressed with this whole saga of I'll fight you at 144, now come and make the fight. So, all right. I want to stay at 147. I don't want to lose my belt. This is one of the biggest fights I can make at this division. After me already beating the best guy at this division. He's a mandatory. Boom. I can take him on. I can take him on straight up. Now, if I win this, it sets up a potential opportunity for branching paths. It can set up a rivalry with me and Shakur. I beat your guy. Now you come up and do what I say you need to do. Beat me. Or it makes it so that the Ryan Garcia ball falls further into his court of what are you going to do? You're talking with Ortiz. You already said you were potentially going to fight Conor Ben. After either of those fights, now you could go and potentially take me on. And we can unify. Both of which would be very entertaining for the public to see. It forces the wheel to turn for the boxing world at 154. Or at 147, excuse me. And that's what we want. Be clear. More than anything, that's what we want. We want the wheel to have to turn at 147 to make stuff shake. We want the wheel of competition and legitimate. Hold on, I'm trying to get my headphones right. They're not sitting right. There we go. We want the wheel of competition to continue to turn and still shine. And be, what? Is it right? Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. I don't want to look tacky, but it forces the wheel to turn to make the boxing storyline move forward in one way or another, which is what I want to see. So what mandate, and this is a mandate that is, I don't think anybody has a problem with this being mandated as a fight. So I'm down for it. I'm absolutely down for it. No question about it. Make this happen more often. These types of mandatories, again, when it's not pick me, where some people are showing favoritism, it can work out flawless. It really can. When it is favoritism or unfair for some, it can be bad. But when it's just straight up, you gotta do what you gotta do, I'm all for it. And this is the fight that makes sense, so I'm excited, no question about it. But either way, again, we're still in the last call for the World Championship rounds. We still want to hear from you in any regards to the world of your opinions, thoughts, discussions, debates, and everything under the sun when looking at the framework of boxing and beyond. Let me look and see if there's any other clips or any other news breaking in the world of boxing before we get on out of here. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm reading something. Before I even say it, let me make sure this is right. Now, one thing I do need, you know what? This is actually pretty decent. So I just saw this post on Twitter. Going back to the Shakur Stevenson whole situation. Why are you waiting it out? From Pound for Pound, who's again a boxing social media platform, he put out something that I didn't think about this before, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. And that's this. With PBC, where's that? Let me zoom in. With PBC now on the zone, maybe Shakur was a genius this whole time by wanting to stay at 135 and not moving up for good. Because Shakur versus Tank is now a fight that's closer than ever before. Excuse me. That or this, it's something I never thought about as a potential, but it could be something that might be why all this is going down. Again, it's a lofty sentiment. It's a lofty potential reality. And it's something that might sound crazy to some people. However, from the greater picture of the sport, let's look at it from that perspective. PBC is now under the zone. Every promoter now is working together, collectively. You also get Shakur being more notarized than ever before. Him versus Devin Haney, big time fight, but it shows the amount of intrigue that you see taking place. Devin Haney looking like he's signing with Zuffa or is about to sign with Zuffa. Shakur may not want to do that. Hence why that may be another reason as to why he's not signing with the 144-pound agreement that Devin Haney said, yeah, I'm willing to take. Still, you should take it because this is what you asked for, but that's neither here nor there for the specifics of this conversation. Maybe all of this dead silence is because he wants to ultimately get a fight with Tank Davis. Is it lofty? Yes. Is it possible? Maybe. Is it truthful? I have no clue. It's just rumors. But if there was one fight that might be the reason why everything is staying put, maybe it's this. Tank and Shakur, or Tank and Schofield, having a fight at 135 to defend the belt. Tank needs to keep on getting fights. Tank only wants money fights. Shakur, with the stock that he's garnered, maybe trying to build it up without trying to go and say and get in the ring and risk it, now goes through. Tank beats Schofield. Tank retains. Shakur does still go down to 135 like he wants to, but it's because he wants to get Tank and take his belt at this division. And now, up, big brain moves. I got what I ultimately wanted. That's a lofty thing to think about. That's a very far-fetched reach. Absolutely. But it's not the craziest thing I've heard. It's not the craziest thing we've seen people do. So I can't say it's completely out of left field. It's impossible. Because there might be something to that. It sounds crazy. Trust me. It sounds lofty. Trust me. It sounds almost insane. I completely agree. But it ain't impossible. It's not impossible. I can say that firmly. Let me see. Tank boxing skills, no match for Shakur. Shakur is a master of distance and punch placement. Tank relies on fighter to get excited and chase him. I mean, you're not wrong. And excuse me. I think Shakur would be able to beat Tank. I also think that Tank, we would finally see the version of Tank that everybody says has never been brought out before if he fought against Shakur. That would show, okay, Tank, it's time for you to show us what you really got, because you're going to need every trick in the book to beat the likes of Shakur, not just power. You're going to need walk him down, defense, elusiveness, setting traps, being able to not just be explosive, but being able to win inside the pocket, win from distance, and be able to outthink one of the best mental minds in the game. You can do all that. You lit up everything that we said you are. If you can't, we're going to find out. We kept on hearing Calvin Ford say about all this stuff about Tank being as great as he is. All this stuff about Tank being able to be, oh, you ain't seen the best. You about to, he's never even scratched the surface. We better rip off that packaging and go to the source of whatever well of talent he's got. Because he's going to need to do more than just scratch the surface if that fight was even able to be entertained. If it actually did happen. Because the same stuff we said about Shakur not fighting Devin Haney, we were also saying about you not fighting Shakur. You ducked him. When it was right there for you to make. So, excuse me if we feel that we're going to need this fight to validate how good you actually are. Especially with Welch being the most recent framework of memory of what you were able to do inside the boxing ring. But again, that's just my opinion. But even still, we got to go and wrap this show up and send it home. We're almost at the 4-hour mark, and I told y'all we're not going above 4 hours. And we got to go and end this show as we are still celebrating Juneteenth. I got some festivities I got to do. I got some food I got to eat. I got some people I got to see. And I got myself some celebratory things I got to be a part of. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this show up, send it home, get on out of here, and let you all enjoy the rest of your with this holiday 4-day weekend. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been, oh, wrong button. There we go. This has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch, and we thank you so much for being a part of our show, having you being a part of our community. We love it. We appreciate it. We can't wait to see you all be a part of it as we get into the Tuesday afternoon, and we talk about all the stuff involving the world of boxing and beyond as we continue to go forward and shine. Thank you to everybody who supported the chat and everybody who gave to our show, as well as thank you to everybody who participated and chatted and was a part of adding their voice to the conversation of what we got going on our show on today. We appreciate you being a part of us, a part with us on this Friday edition of The Welch Report. Hopefully you all have a wonderful time. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Please be sure to leave a like on the video before you leave. Let me reiterate, one like makes a world of difference on this show to help us to grow, flourish, and shine all across the boxing landscape and all across the social media world for sports and beyond. We appreciate you all helping this community grow, and please keep on liking the stream before you leave. Tell us what you liked and didn't like about the show before you get out of here, so we can keep on investing into this show. If you want to add more topics, add more discussion, add more things to the table, we want to hear from you after this video ends in the comment section. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We are there. Also be sure, if you can support the channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description. Super chats and super gifts, stickers, and the like, all of which you can give and support this channel with if you can afford to. Any amount will do. Helps us to pay the bills and helps us to go through and edify the show and make it better for you to witness and enjoy. And please be sure to do the most important thing, which is, again, to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. But I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. We're going to get out of here. Be safe, be blessed, peace, and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. Salute to you. We're going to get on home and enjoy the rest of your holiday. Happy Juneteenth. Enjoy the rest of your 4-day weekend. To celebrate any way that you know how. And we can't wait to see you all on next week. Be safe, be blessed, peace and love. And we are out of here.